Chapter 12:20. The Mercedes-Benz elegance was like a drunk wife. One moment it was angry, the next moment it was gentle and pleasant. Sometimes it vented its drive, and sometimes it showed its comfort. The man in the Chinese tunic suit felt a little dizzy in the car. Lei Zhe had been driving very steadily. Even if you gave him a sports car, he could still drive as steadily as a business car. He rarely had the passion to drive so fiercely. This time, his passion was really released by Shi Lanhua. As long as Shi Lanhua said 180, Lei Zhe would definitely step on the accelerator and not 179. If it wasn't for the fact that this was a business car, it wouldn't be a problem for him to go 250. Unfortunately, the maximum speed of this car was only 200. It couldn't run at all. This was normal. Which business car owner would let the driver drive so fast? Was he in a hurry to be reincarnated? With his speed, it was impossible to shake off Su Yun's Qian. Su Yun could be fast or slow. He steadily maintained a distance of 500 to 600 meters. This gave them a headache. They couldn't see the people following them, but they couldn't shake them off either. This was the most unpleasant feeling. They must be suspicious. Shen Chen frowned. "You're telling the truth." Ma San'er laughed. "One is fast and the other is slow. It's like they're crazy. How can they not be suspicious of us? I think they'll have a falling out soon. If they do, I'll be the first to go." Shen Chen said, "I'll treat this as the last time I work for Mr. Du. If I die, it's my own fault. If not, I'll deal with this person. It'll be the last favor I'll return to him." "You're still thinking about Du Tian at this time. It's Du Tian's blessing to have someone like you supporting him for so long." Su Yun said lightly, "Shen Chen, if you really want to work for me in the future, don't be impulsive. Listen to my arrangements. I can tell you clearly that it's not that simple. I'm not just looking for a person, but an organization." Shen Chen was stunned. He didn't know what Su Yun meant. The people who beat up Du Tian were just a few people arranged by the organization, Su Yun said. The person who pretended to be Du Tian was also a pawn of the organization. If my guess is correct, there should be a mastermind in the car in front of us. They must have sensed something since they retreated so quickly. "Manager Su, I don't understand what you mean." Shen Chen was at a loss. He didn't know anything about the tri-colored Tang King. Ma San'er glanced at Su Yun. "Brother Yun, it's not good to say so much now. It won't be too late to talk about it when he's really with you." Now, all he had to do was to follow and do what he had to do. As for the other matters, let's put them aside for now. He wouldn't be able to understand even if I said too much. It's better not to say anything. It's just nonsense. Su Yun didn't look back, but he didn't deny that Ma San'er's words were indeed reasonable. It was indeed useless to say more. Your third brother is right. You should listen to your third brother's arrangement. Shen Chen nodded and called out to Ma San'er respectfully. "Third brother, please give me some advice later. If I do something wrong, you must help me correct it in time. Brother, thank you in advance. You don't have to be so polite. I like to be friends with humble people." Ma San'er was quite satisfied with Shen Chen calling him third brother. "Since you call me third brother so sincerely, then I won't be a third brother for nothing. If you have anything you don't understand, feel free to ask. Third brother will take care of you when we're doing things later." "I said you have a big face. You're really arrogant." Su Yun laughed and scolded him. He said to Shen Chen, "Don't listen to his nonsense. He is like this. He doesn't say anything serious. However, if something really happens, he can really cover you. I'm really relieved that he will look after you in a while." "What's there to be worried about?" Ma San'er snorted. "He's such a big person. Even if I'm a bad guy, can I still kidnap him? I'm afraid that he will beat me." Su Yun was still observing the Mercedes-Benz elegant in front of him as he spoke. As long as the car slowed down, he would immediately release the accelerator. Seeing that they were about to reach another service area, Su Yun was wondering if the other party would still enter this time. The Mercedes-Benz elegant suddenly lit up the brake light. The red dazzling light lit up in front, and Su Yun was nervous. After all, it was a highway. Braking suddenly was almost a gamble. The speed on the highway was so fast. If the car suddenly braked in front, it would be impossible to stop at 100 or 200 meters. What's more, they were now driving at nearly 200 kilometers per hour. Before Su Yun braked, he glanced at the rearview mirror and made sure that there was no car following behind before he hit the brake. In the process of the car braking, Su Yun still didn't understand what the other party meant. Did they want to fall out on the highway? Isn't this too risky? Shen Chen, who was sitting in the front passenger seat, stretched his neck to look to the right and exclaimed, "President Su, the car in front has a car accident." A serial car accident. It's quite serious. After Shen Chen finished speaking, Su Yun could also see the scene in front from his angle. A large logistics vehicle was sprawled across the road, and a BMW M3 had plunged its head into the bottom of the vehicle, directly cutting off the roof, leaving only the lower half of the vehicle inside. Just by looking at the situation, it was obvious what the outcome of the people inside would be without guessing. The people were definitely dead. Looking at the result also depended on how badly they died. The cause of the car accident was very simple. It was 100% certain that the logistics truck was swaying in front. The BMW M3 behind felt that it had enough horsepower, so it had to overtake it. However, the logistics truck blocked the BMW M3's overtaking path. The M3's owner was furious and despised you in his heart. "You motherfucker, how dare you block my way? I will overtake you to death." Then, the M3's owner hurried to the right to overtake, but unfortunately, he didn't see the logistics truck in front. He only heard the sound of the horn and was prepared to give way to the left overtaking lane. In the end, as he dodged and gave way, the M3 continued to follow behind him. At this time, there must have been an emergency in front. The logistics truck stepped on the brakes slightly. The BMW M3, who had stepped on the accelerator all the way, had no chance to react. It plunged into the bottom of the truck and the upper half of its body disappeared. Of course, this car accident had nothing to do with Su Yun and the others. However, the entire highway was blocked by the broken car accident scene. Moreover, this accident had probably just happened and the paramedics hadn't arrived yet. The traffic couldn't move at all. There were already more than a dozen cars ahead. Just as Su Yun slowly slowed down, in the blink of an eye, there were more than a dozen cars behind them. There were trucks and cars. No one could think about leaving. On the other hand, the crooked F-Zero squeezed out a path in the corner and drove away in front of him. He didn't feel bad even if the car was scratched. The most important thing was that it could squeeze through the gap, which was better than being stuck on the highway. After all, the quality of a considerable number of people in Huaxia was quite average. There were people everywhere on the highway who occupied the emergency lane. It would definitely delay the arrival of the paramedics. No one knew how long this would take. Chapter 12:21. The Mercedes-Benz Elegance was parked behind the tragic accident scene. Inside the car, the man in the Chinese tunic suit couldn't relax his eyebrows. Why was everything so bad today? Not only did they get into a car accident on the expressway, they even got into a car accident on the expressway. He really forgot to look at the past when he went out. He had a feeling that everything was going wrong. This feeling made the man in the Chinese tunic suit feel terrible. After all, there was an unknown car following them. Although his underlings were suspecting that the car was arranged by Du Tian, and the people who followed them were at best insignificant hooligans, in front of them, they were like baskets. However, the man in the Chinese tunic suit vaguely felt that there was something else going on. A real estate dealer was beaten up by them, so he didn't think of going to the auction to catch them in the act. He just went to the hospital to treat his injuries and was afraid that he would lose face at the auction. Why did he act so different the next day and search for them in Yanjing City so cleanly? There might be someone else behind this. As for who else could it be, the man in the Chinese tunic suit couldn't guess. If it was someone from the enemy, it would be easy. If the country wanted to investigate them, then they had to be careful. It was better to be safe than sorry. This was definitely the most precious gift from the ancient people to the man in the Chinese tunic suit. "Boss, do you want me to go down and check the back?" Shi Lan Hua could see the displeasure on the second boss's face, and also the cold gaze under his frown. "You can't go," the man in the Chinese tunic suit said calmly. "You showed your face at the auction. You'll be easily recognized. Ask Baldy Chong and the others to check the back. Try to pretend that nothing happened. Don't make a big fuss. Now that it's blocked, no one can leave. If something happens, it won't do us any good. Do you understand?" Baldy and the other two nodded. They were about to follow the boss's orders. Baldy opened the car door and was about to get out. "Boss, I disguised myself at the auction. I even used Du Tion's face to make it. I pasted on my chin, cheekbones, eyebrows, and nose. No one should be able to recognize me, right?" Shi Lan Hua asked tentatively. The man in the Chinese tunic suit still had his eyes closed. "Some things are strange. I'm afraid that what we think may be wrong." Shi Lan Hua did not understand the meaning of the Chinese tunic suit. At this time, Baldy and the others had already gotten out of the car. Before Baldy left, he patted Shi Lan Hua's shoulder and said, "Shi Lan Hua, listen to the boss's arrangements. The boss is a hermit and has his own plans." "What the F***ck? I was just trying to flatter her, but I ended up flattering her instead." "Who said that the hermit had his own plan? Why don't you say that Sean Pao has his own brilliant plan? This way, second boss will like you even more." Sigh, sometimes, people are ruined by their own mouths. A mouth can do great things, and a mouth can also ruin things. After Baldy got out of the car and left, the man in the tunic suit sighed slightly. He seemed to be very satisfied with Baldy's departure. "Lan Hua, the art of disguise is very difficult to master. What you've learned is just the tip of the iceberg. The easy part of the art of disguise is the face, facial features, and expression, but the difficult part is the expression." The Chinese tunic suit said, "If the other party is an expert, they won't look at your face. They will look at your eyes." Shi Lan Hua nodded. Now he understood why he had been targeted. It seemed that he had met his match. "All right, don't think too much." The man in the tunic suit said, "Even if they catch up, we don't have to be afraid. If they want to make a move on us, they should at least have some proof." Shi Lan Hua was stunned. "Boss, is the tricolor Tang King not in the car? Do you think I'm stupid? Wouldn't I be asking for trouble if I brought that thing in the car?" The man in the tunic suit smiled. "Anyway, when the time comes, I'll be shipping it out in Yanjing. I left it in a precious item depository." Shi Lan Hua was nervous. "Boss, what if someone is watching you and sees where you left it? Won't they?" "Don't worry, I've already bought high insurance. If the thing is really stolen, I'll get a large amount of compensation. Not only will I not lose money, but I'll also save a lot of trouble." The man in the tunic suit was astute. The person who schemed against him, Humph, probably wasn't even born yet. After letting out a long sigh, the man in the tunic suit said, "In the future, no matter what you do, you have to leave yourself a way out, understand?" "I'll remember your teachings," Shi Lan Hua said sincerely. This was true. In the company, the person he admired the most was the second boss. He was scheming, resourceful, and had quick reflexes. Of course, it wasn't that he didn't admire the big boss. It was just that the big boss was too mysterious. He was a behind-the-scenes boss who could coordinate the whole situation. Shi Lan Hua was already the backbone of the company, but the number of times he had seen the big boss could be counted on one hand. Every time the big boss came, he would at most give each of them a cigarette and then talk to the second boss alone. Before he left, he would give them a ring of cigarettes. Even if he wanted to admire him, he didn't have the chance. To the big boss, there was only mystery. All the big and small matters in the company were basically handled by the second boss. For more important matters like the tricolor Tang King, the second boss would personally follow behind the scenes. This was to prevent any mistakes. Originally, this matter was to wait for the tricolor Tang King to be sold to a rich collector who knew the value of the item, before they left. But now that they were suddenly targeted, they had no choice but to go out and take a detour before coming back. This was a very necessary thing to do. Someone said that there wasn't even a media outlet at the charity auction. Who would know about the tricolor Tang King? Of course, they couldn't let the media know. If the media knew, there might be negative criticism. There might even be a group of people wearing expert hats who would stand out and say, "How can there be a tricolor Tang King? It's impossible for such a thing to exist in this world." Or something like that. And in this way, the circle of people who spread the word about the tricolor Tang King would be the circle of people who went that day. They were all high society people from all over the country. They might not be the richest bosses in Huaxia, but they would definitely be able to get in touch with those people. Once they got in touch with them, these words would spread to the ears of those who were richer and didn't even want to come at that time. What would the effect be? They would definitely want to see what an item worth 200 million and a half looked like. Once there were more people who wanted to see it, the value of this item would be even higher. By then, no one would care about its authenticity. Its value would be there for all to see. Whoever could buy it would be a symbol of status. By then, when the real bosses of Huaxia appeared, the 200 million and a half fake Tang King could be sold for at least double the price. One had to know that the high-tech cost of this item plus the labor cost of hiring antique experts was not even worth 200 million. Moreover, as long as the tricolor Tang King was successful, they would immediately release the tricolor Shimin, tricolor Taizong, etc., a series of royal tricolor porcelain dolls. By then, the money would be rolling in. Baldy Chong brought Shorty Lu and Windeer along and pretended to get out of the car to take a look. Then, he looked back to see how far the blockage was. Shorty Lu took out a cigarette and gave one to Baldy Chong and Windeer. He quickly lit a cigarette and took a deep puff. He would have to hold it in when he got back in the car. Let's go take a look at the scene of the accident first. See if that person was torn in half. Baldy Chong smoked as he stretched his head out to take a look. You are so King disgusting. What's there to see about a person who was torn in half? Windeer said, let's go and see if there are any suspicious people behind. Otherwise, second boss will give you a hard time later. Behind, in the Qian, Shen Chen's expression changed. Director Su, those three guys are their men. Chapter 12:22. Shen Chen immediately followed Su Yun's instructions. He curled up his body and lay down on the ground. He wasn't afraid of trouble, but he didn't want to cause unnecessary trouble for Su Yun and the others. Su Yun and Ma San'er gave each other a look, and the two of them got out of the car. Ma San'er took out a pack of cigarettes, took out a stick and stuffed it into his mouth. Then, he threw the rest of the pack to Su Yun. Su Yun also took out a stick and put it in his mouth. At this time, the bald man and the other two had already come over. They glanced at Su Yun's car. Because it was a Shen brand, the bald man didn't need to look carefully to be sure. Originally, the Qian was quite recognizable. Su Yun suddenly walked toward the bald man. The bald man was slightly startled. Behind him, the short man who was less than 1.6 meters and the guy with a pair of protruding ears became vigilant. As long as the bald man gave the order, they would definitely take action directly. The bald man didn't expect that the other party would take the initiative to come to him. It was simply audacious and extremely arrogant. Whether it was an uncle or an aunt, this matter couldn't be tolerated. Not to mention, he was a baldy. He definitely couldn't hold back his anger. This was clearly bullying. Brother, can I borrow a lighter? Su Yun stepped forward. The bald man almost cursed out the word **** in his mouth, but he held it back. Su Yun saw that the bald man didn't have any reaction, so he said again, Brother, do you have a lighter? Can I borrow a lighter? As he said that, Su Yun flicked out a few cigarettes in his hand, exposing the cigarette butts, and handed them to the bald man and the other two. He meant, lend me a lighter. I'll treat you to a cigarette. At this time, the bald man came back to his senses. He took out a lighter from his pocket and handed it to Su Yun. Su Yun didn't hesitate to take the lighter and lit the cigarette. Then, He threw the lighter to Ma San-er. Ma San-er also lit a cigarette and returned the lighter to them. How unlucky. Why am I so unlucky when I go out today? Su-yun sighed and said unhappily, in the last service area, there was insufficient tire pressure, so I changed the tire. This service area is just 2 steps away, and I actually got into a car accident. Bad luck, really bad luck. Did you change your tires in the last service area? As soon as the Baldy spoke, he regretted it. Wasn't it obvious that they were paying attention to them? Wind-Ear was a little speechless. Baldy's words were F***king unreliable, right? The bald man noticed it too. He squinted his eyes and smiled. Nice car. How much did it cost? I've always wanted to get one to play with, so I paid special attention to the Kian on the way. Ha ha ha. You bought this model when it was first released. It's a 4.8 top model. At that time, there weren't any antitrust laws. It didn't even give way to 26.3 million yuan. Su-yun said, after paying taxes and buying insurance, it's only a few thousand yuan. Baldy Chong swallowed his saliva. His bragging was a little too much. Even if he didn't eat or drink for 10 years, he might not be able to afford it. Moreover, the vehicle and boat usage tax and commercial insurance for this thing added up to 70,000 to 80,000 yuan, right? This didn't include the maintenance and refueling. Those who could afford this thing had to be rich. Not bad, not bad. Good stuff is good stuff. Baldy Chong licked his lips. Okay, I'll go to Si-sun's shop to take a look. Half of the people who bought these luxury cars weren't on the road. Yi Fala bought this car because he wanted to give it to Su-yun. Therefore, he went through the proper procedures to buy this car. Many people wanted to change to such a car to put up a front, but they didn't use the proper methods. There were second-hand cars, mortgaged cars, and unregistered cars. As long as there was a way and they weren't afraid of being checked, they could buy Su-yun's car at 1/5 of the price. The key was that they had to have someone above them. Even if the traffic police were to check on them, they could really settle it with just a phone call. Otherwise, who would dare to buy it? If it was confiscated after 2 years of driving, even 1/10 of the price would be a loss. What kind of business are you guys doing? I can see that you guys are making a lot of money. If there's any opportunity, we can cooperate. Su-yun took a puff of his cigarette and leisurely exhaled. One more friend, one more way to make money. Baldy Chong didn't know how to reply for a while. They didn't come here to talk nonsense with them. Cough. Shorty coughed and said to Su-yun, friend, I can see that you're in the underworld, and you're doing quite well. We're all small businesses trying to make a living. Hey, don't be like that. I can see that you guys aren't simple. You're definitely not in a simple business, right? Su-yun deliberately said, don't hide it. If there's money, let's make it together. No one expected that there would be an ambulance passing by at the service station. It quickly came to the scene of the accident. Baldy Chong saw that there was a show in front and didn't know what to say. He directly said, we should go. We'll meet again if we're fated. Baldy Chong didn't do anything. He hurried back with Shorty Lu and flapping ears. Su-yun and Ma San-er also threw away their cigarette butts and directly got into the car. They'll follow you to the end. I don't care if you're suspicious or not. I'll eat you up. Shi Lanhua saw Baldy Chong and the others return in a panic and quickly asked, what's the situation? Why are you guys chatting with that person? He's not suspicious. Baldy Chong was a little unhappy. What kind of gangster can drive a Kian? It's already impressive if he can get into a Toyota Prado. His car is F***king close to 3 million. That Du Tion's Panamera isn't worth that much either. He's richer than Du Tion. Why would he do something for Du Tion? Use your brains. Hearing Baldy Chong's words, the Chinese tunic suit was a little unhappy. He glanced at Baldy Chong. We just went out for a chat and you were fooled? Boss, I'm not fooling you. I'm telling the truth. Baldy Chong was a little unconvinced. They had insufficient tire pressure at the service station and changed the spare tire. This is just a coincidence. We thought they were following us. The cigarette they gave you was drugged, wasn't it? Shi Lanhua glared at Baldy Chong. He dared to talk to the second boss like that. He really wanted to cause trouble for himself. Why don't you think about it? What if they're lying? Baldy Chong was speechless, but he still felt that he was right. Shi Lanhua, you're thinking too much. Can't you think of things in a simpler way? Let's talk about it. He drives a car worth 3 million. How can he earn that money for such a small thing? Huh? Can you afford it? If he can, it means that he's done bigger things than us. The Chinese tunic suit sneered. You're right. He's done bigger things than all of you. Everyone was stunned. They didn't know what to say. They really didn't know what to do. The second boss expression showed that he was angry. I've said it before. It doesn't have to be Du Tian's people who are watching you. The Chinese tunic suit sneered and said to Shi Lanhua, the person who bid against you at the auction isn't a simple person either, right? With the Chinese tunic suit's reminder, Shi Lanhua suddenly understood. Boss, you're suspecting that the person in the car is... I'm just suspecting. But you can't go and identify that person. Once you go, you'll definitely be recognized. The Chinese tunic suit said, they might only be suspecting us. We can't act rashly. Now it's time to see who's more patient. At this time, the road ahead was gradually cleared. The Chinese tunic suit said to the driver, Lei Zhe, stop at the service station. I'm going to call your brother and ask him to come over. Shi Lanhua was stunned. The second boss had told Lei Yu to find a way to go back by himself. Now he was calling him over. It seemed that he was ready to fight at any time. He didn't know who they'd run into this time. Did they really want to fight to the death with them? Chapter 12:23. Shen Chen hesitantly looked at Su Yun as the Mercedes-Benz Viano entered the service area. Su Yun followed them into the service area without saying a word. The other party must have a plan in mind, so there was no need for him to avoid anything. Is this the rhythm of a head-on fight? Ma Sanner licked his lips. Are we gentlemen going to use our mouths and not our fists, or are we going to use our mouths and fists? It depends on the situation. If the enemy doesn't move, we won't move. We'll try to make friends. Su Yun said lightly, they are now in a wait-and-see period. If we can talk about friendship, it's best to pull them out directly to catch a big fish. Shen Chen didn't understand what was going on. He was confused as he listened. How come they are going to catch a big fish? Are they going to catch a pyramid scheme gang? Mr. Su, who are they? Aren't we just going to catch one person? Are we going to catch them all? If we want to return a favor to Du Tian, then it's enough to catch one person. Su Yun said, but my purpose is not just to catch one person. Shen Chen, this is the difference between you and me. That's why I didn't want you to come. If you leave now, I won't stop you. After I deal with that person, I'll cut off his ear and send it to you so that you can give Du Tian an explanation. Shen Chen was stunned for a moment. He thought for a moment and said without hesitation, I'll do it myself. There's no need to trouble Mr. Su with this matter. But before that, I still want to help Mr. Su to catch them all. Mr. Su, I know that you are definitely not ordinary people. What you want to do must be a big thing. I, Shen Chen, haven't done anything big in my life. I'm just a gangster. I haven't done anything that benefits the country and the people. To put it bluntly, I'm just harming others for my own benefit. If Mr. Su gives me a chance, I also want to accumulate some virtue. Ma Sanner patted Shen Chen's shoulder. Young man, you have a bright future. Your ideological awareness is high enough. You can see that what we are doing is a big thing that benefits the country and the people. Good, you have a bright future. Since you've already said so, then I'll make it clear to you. We want to catch this group that imitates the tri-colored Tang King. Su Yun said, I don't know how big they are, but they definitely won't be small. Shen Chen narrowed his eyes. What's a tricolored Tang king? Have you heard of Tang San Kai? Ma Saner said, San Kai is the Tang San Kai, the emperor of the Tang dynasty. Antiques. Shen Chen suddenly realized and exclaimed, aren't these things dug out from underground? I've read the grave robbers' notes before, so I know what grave robbers are. Could they be? Are they grave robbers? Commander Qiu Zhongjiang? What tomb raiding officers? Even if they're underground workers, they're just earthmasters, mountain-moving Taoists. You even gave them the title of mountain-moving Taoist. You even gave them the title of mountain-moving Taoist. You even gave them the title of mountain-moving Taoist. They know a lot. What kind of business did Ma Saner do? Many of the people he interacted with in this business were working underground. He knew them all too well. Su Yun coughed softly to remind the two of them not to change the topic. They were not talking about grave robbers. He emphasized again, I just said that they're imitations. What do you mean by imitations? Imitations. Shen Chen was so excited about the antiques that he didn't pay attention to what Su Yun said about imitations. Do they make imitations? Can imitations of antiques be auctioned? Ma Saner said contemptuously, what the hell do you know about auction houses? As long as there's an appraisal certificate, it's all authentic. But the appraisal certificate can't be issued casually. Shen Chen said, it still needs to be appraised, right? There are two kinds of appraisal certificates. The first is a technological appraisal, which is to test the technology of carbon-14. Generally, prefecture-level cities have such testing institutions. They issue certificates of antiques. The second is an expert appraisal. Some prefecture-level cities have their own antique associations. These antique associations have the qualifications to appraise antiques and can issue their own appraisal certificates. This is called an association appraisal. A few powerful auction companies can also issue an appraisal certificate with high credibility. This is called an auction company appraisal. Some well-known experts in the country can also issue an appraisal certificate, which is a personal appraisal. Ma Saner was an expert, so his explanation was clear and logical. So what? Shen Chen didn't understand. Isn't that still an appraisal? Where there are people, everything is alive. Su Yun said, since they can even imitate things, why would they worry about not getting a certificate? Do you think that they can make the imitations so realistic without the advice of a few particularly powerful experts? Shen Chen patted his head. Yes. Rules are dead, but people are alive. Where there are people, there are rules. These rules are made by people. If they can make things, why would they be afraid that they can't make a certificate? Are you kidding me? These people are really amazing. After Shen Chen understood, he said with lingering fear, all of this was premeditated. Their premeditated plan has already succeeded. If it weren't for the fact that you've caused such a big commotion in Yanjing City during this period of time and there were too many people looking for them, I'm afraid they would have already secretly sold this thing to some big idiot in Yanjing City's upper-class society who doesn't know anything but likes to show off. Su Yun said, you've at least helped one person keep a few 100 million yuan in his pocket. If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have gotten involved and let them lose a few 100 million yuan first. Shen Chen scolded, anyway, these people who don't feel bad about spending a few 100 million yuan have a lot of money in their hands. You're quite smart, but your reaction is a bit late. Ma Saner added. As they spoke, the car had already entered the service area. Seeing the black Qian also enter the service area, Shi Lanhua was a bit worried. Boss, they actually followed us. What should we do? Broccoli, if you ask me, you're a sissy. Didn't I already say that they're so rich? Why would they call us? The bald man still didn't believe it. Even if the second boss's words made sense, he still believed in his own reasons. Once he said that, everyone could tell that the baldy was courting death. He was speaking to the second boss. He didn't want to live a good life anymore. He just wanted to find some excitement. Will you die if you don't talk so much? Shi Lanhua slapped the bald man's head and pushed him out of the car. Then, he gave Shorty Lou and Wind Ear a look, telling them to get out of the car and talk to him. Of course, he didn't get out of the car because the Kian also followed them to the service area. Before the second boss allowed him to get out of the car, he would never get out of the car even if he pooped in his pants. The car was quiet. The man in the Chinese tunic suit took out his phone and called Lei Yu. Outside the car, Shorty Lu dragged the bald man into the washroom and scolded, "Are you F***king crazy? What are you saying in front of the second boss? It's okay if you want to die, but don't drag us down with you. Don't you know who we are? What are you saying? Are you looking for trouble?" "That's right." Wind Ear also scolded, "I think you're really crazy. Who do you think the second boss is? You should just listen to whatever he says. If something happens, you don't have to take responsibility. Why do you have to be the first one to stand out?" The bald man was unconvinced. "I'm being kind. Can't I be kind? The company pays me, so I have to do things. I'm not like you guys who eat for free." Chapter 12:24. If this person was not convinced, no one could persuade him. Even if Baldy Chong's father came to tell him that the second boss was right, he would not be convinced. After all, he had already come to a conclusion about the second boss. The second boss liked people like Broccoli who could talk, and not people like him who could only do things but not talk. Of course, Baldy Chong was not convinced. The second boss made it sound like Broccoli was the only one who took credit for this mission. At first, he could endure it. After all, Broccoli had a good relationship with him. They were brothers. But now, he really couldn't endure it. He was annoyed when he saw the second boss ordering him around. Why didn't Broccoli do anything now? Why did they have to run errands? At that time, he had asked Broccoli to disguise as Du Tian because his image was more or less the same. Broccoli was just going to attend the auction. Previously, he had asked Shorty Lou and Wind Ear to get the invitation letters from Du Tian. Broccoli just drove a rented luxury car to the auction house to show off for a while. Why was his status higher than theirs? Why didn't he do anything? Why wasn't Baldy Chong liked? Why? Because of your mother****. Shorty Lou. How do you think I usually treat you? Baldy Chong was a little angry. How did I do anything wrong? Why did I have to do all the errands? Who am I more lowly than? Shorty Lou said to Baldy Chong, "We treat you like this for your own good. Don't you think about the benefits of offending the second boss? We all know what kind of person the second boss is. So what if he likes Broccoli? You didn't do things as meticulously as Broccoli. You are not happy with just a few words. Who are you giving face to? That is the boss, okay? The boss can't insult me like this. It's not like I don't do things for the company." Baldy Chong was still indignant. "And what I said was the truth. The person who drove the Kian would not go against us unless he had a problem." Baldy Chong said, "Otherwise, he doesn't lack money. Why did he provoke us for entertainment?" Wind Ear said faintly, "Since the second boss said so, you don't care if he has a problem or not. Just pay attention. If you insist on going against him, isn't this slapping his face? He's a prideful person to begin with, and you're still messing with him like this. He wants to save face, but I don't. Whatever I say, he looks like he doesn't believe me. I feel good." Baldy snorted. "Since they're paying you, you have to ***king bear with it. You don't even understand such a small thing?" Shorty was so happy that he wanted to slap him, but he also knew that Baldy was trying to appease him. The more he said, the angrier he would get. "All right, we all know what kind of person second boss is. Calm down. Come, smoke a cigarette. Don't think so much. The more you think, the angrier you get." Baldy glanced at Shorty and laughed. "You also don't think it's my fault? Then why did you scold me when you got out of the car? Isn't that for second boss to hear?" Shorty said in amusement, "If you were the boss, I would have anything nice to say to you. Really, as long as you pay me every month, I'll say whatever you want to hear." Do you still need me to tell you this? Why can't you use your brain and think about it? Baldy thought about it and agreed. He had been the scapegoat for so many years in the company and had made a lot of contributions. Every day, he would hum, "I want to go to the company, I'm not late, I love to work hard, I swear to make contributions to the company," and go to work, but he still didn't have an official position. Seeing that Broccoli was going to be a middle-level manager after this matter, how could he feel good in his heart? Envy and jealousy were definitely there. He was about to hate her. Go back and apologize to second boss later, and this matter will be over. Windear said, "Is that okay? Otherwise, we won't have a good time. I'm telling the truth." Alright, I got it. Baldy waved his hand irritably. PP. Stop nagging. It's just such a small matter, and it's never ending. It's boring. Just as they finished arguing, Su-Yun appeared behind Baldy again. Brother, what a coincidence. We meet again. Are you guys also taking a break to pee? Wind Ear and Shorty Lou were quite vigilant when they saw Su-Yun appear, but Baldy didn't feel so. He just wanted to let everyone know that this handsome guy who called him brother and drove a Kian was absolutely fine. You guys also came to the toilet? Yeah, to get rid of the bad luck. Seeing such a tragic car accident, I have goosebumps all over my body. If I don't get rid of the bad luck, I can't go on the road. Su-Yun smiled. Brothers, you guys also came to get rid of the bad luck, right? Yes. Shorty Lou also smiled and asked Su-Yun, "What about your friend? Didn't he come to get rid of the bad luck?" Su-Yun knew that they were talking about Ma Sana. Because Shen Chen didn't show up, they didn't know that there was another person in the car. He didn't believe in this and fell asleep in the car. My brother has night blindness and can't drive at night, so I let him get enough sleep and drive during the day tomorrow. Because one person had to stay behind to monitor the situation of the Mercedes-Benz Yana, and it was inconvenient for Shen Chen to come out if something happened, Su-Yun asked Ma Saner to stay behind. It was just in case. Where are you going? It's so far away, and you still need to drive? Wind Ear added. This was like an interrogation, but in fact, they were just trying to get information. If Su-Yun said a destination, and they were still at the place after that destination, they couldn't continue to follow. Therefore, Su-Yun had to be tactful. He waved his hand and whispered to Wind Ear, "Brother, what I do is those goods underground. It can't be seen in the light. I don't dare to tell anyone where I'm going. If I meet someone who is scheming and reports me, I will die miserably." Although Su-Yun's voice was low, he was not afraid that the other party couldn't hear. Anyway, the other party had a pair of protruding ears. Although they weren't good-looking, their hearing was definitely not a problem. Wind Ear was speechless. You dare to talk about things that can't be seen in the light? Su-Yun could tell what the other party was thinking from the other party's expression. He smiled and said, "I dare to tell you because I can see that what you are doing may be related to my business. People in our business have intuition. Intuition is really hard to say. Whether you believe it or not, I believe it." Brother, you are a badass. Baldy was stunned for a while. To be honest, they were really related. They were in the business of imitations of things underground. Maybe we really have a chance to cooperate in business. Shorty Lou pulled Baldy to stop him from talking nonsense. Brother, we should go. Okay, take care. We will meet again if fate wills it. Su-Yun smiled and waved his hand. Shorty Lou pulled Baldy back to the car, but found out that they had to wait here for Lei Yu to find a way to come. They immediately understood the second boss's meaning. Shorty Lou and Wind Ear also wanted to explain to the second boss about the Kian, but they thought that if they spoke now, they would definitely offend people. They might as well not say anything. At most, he would realize that it was a misunderstanding, and then it would have nothing to do with them. Chapter 12:25. Second. Baldy almost made a mistake again. He quickly stopped and paused before continuing, "Boss, I just talked to them. Do you know what kind of business they do?" Baldy's tone was full of envy for other people's business. After the Chinese tunic suit heard it, he was extremely unhappy. It seemed that Baldy was going to vent his anger today. What kind of business do they do? You talk to me. I really didn't know that you had such a strong ability to make friends. You found a good friend so quickly? Baldy heard the sarcasm of the second boss and was very unhappy. Yes, we are here to make a living. If we don't even have the ability to make friends, then what is the point of living? It is our ability to make friends. It is our strength and ability. Then tell me what the situation is. What kind of business do they do? And the Chinese tunic suit looked at Baldy coldly. I really want to know. What kind of business do they do that can make you admire them so much? In my memory, you, Baldy Chong, have never admired anyone. Since the boss can make you admire him so much, why don't you go and work for him? This is also good for your future development, isn't it? Boss, aren't you forcing me? Baldy said, this isn't me doing anything. I just think that you think too much. As the saying goes, honest advice is unpleasant to the ear. I am the one who speaks unpleasant to the ear. If you don't like to hear it, that is your business. But if I don't say it, I will be letting down the 30 to 20,000 yuan that the company gives me every month. I am such a person. I am serious and responsible for the company. Honest advice to the boss is unpleasant to the ear. The Chinese tunic suit smiled slightly. It seems that you have learned a lot of words from Lan Hua. Indeed, honest advice is unpleasant to the ear, but people who can speak honest advice are people with brains. Do you have a brain? Baldy was unhappy that the second boss looked down on him for having no IQ. His face sank. How can I have no brain? I think I am quite smart. What did I do to make the boss think that I have no brain? The Chinese tunic suit snorted coldly. Then you tell me what they do. Why did you believe them without hesitation? You just met them once. You call this having a brain? I believe them and I call them having no brain? That's called not being suspicious. The bald man said, they are in the underground business. If I wasn't sure, how could I trust them so easily? Although we're not in the same industry, we're still related to their industry. If he made a friend, he might be able to contact him one day and be of help to him. We're brothers from all corners of the world. They said they were in the underground goods business. The Chinese tunic man was stunned. You believe them just because they said so? The question is, why would they lie to me? The bald man said, they are the tomb raiders and the mountain-moving Taoist. They know the ropes. Who knows, there might even be Zhang Qiling in the car. Shi Lanhua raised his hand and slapped the back of Baldy's head. Have you read too many F*King novels? F*CK. Zhang Qiling. Why don't you say that old dog Wu was also in that car? Do you think the driver is your third uncle from the south? Be more careful, don't always be tricked by others. F*CK. The bald man glared. Broccoli, don't be so cocky. You're taking advantage of the boss's tolerance to get physical with me. Do you really think I'm someone that anyone can bully? I dare you to hit me again. Baldy Chong, what the F*CK is wrong with you? Who do you think you are? Shi Lanhua said angrily, you dare to challenge the boss again. Do you think I won't slap you? Can't you tell that they're trying to trick you? The bald man was stunned. What do you mean? What kind of business are we in? Shi Lanhua said, is it so coincidental that the business they're doing is related to us? We're in the imitation of underground goods, and they're in the business of digging up graves to make a fortune? Isn't it obvious that they're trying to get close to us? Tell me, why can't you think more about it? I think you've gone astray. You're suspicious of everything. The bald man said, I don't remember you being this kind of person before. How did you become like this? Can we still play together in the future? People who walk different paths cannot work together. The Chinese tunic suit said lightly, Baldy, your ambition can't be compared to Shi Lanhua's. The gap between the two of you will only get bigger. It's fine if we can't be friends, so it won't be awkward when we meet in the future. Baldy, I really admire you for this. At least you know your own situation. The bald man laughed and didn't hold back. Second boss, I know you don't like me. Anyway, you've already called Lei. When he comes, you'll definitely be awesome. If you really want to fight with him, I'm afraid you don't need me. Then I won't disturb you here. If you have any regrets, you can tell me. Who knows, I might be able to help you in some way. The Chinese tunic suit snorted disdainfully. That won't be necessary. I don't need trash by my side. Originally, the Chinese tunic suit thought that if something really happened, he could use the bald man as a scapegoat. He didn't expect this guy to fall out with him so early. He didn't even wait for him to glare at him. Instead, the bald man acted as if he was a big shot. Little punk. Did he really think he was some big shot? The Chinese tunic suit didn't lack him. As long as the two brothers Lei Yu and Lei Zhe were by his side, he wasn't afraid of anything happening. They were on the highway, in the middle of nowhere. He also had the advantage of numbers. There was nothing to be afraid of. If the bald man wanted to leave, then he could leave. If he stayed, he would be an eyesore. He felt annoyed just looking at him. Second boss, take care of yourself. The bald man saw that the other party had spoken so firmly. If he stayed, he would just be licking his face. How undignified it was to live like this. I definitely can't live like this. It's too shameful. If you want to live, then live with dignity. If you don't let me do it, then I really don't want to do it. The bald man threw down the words and turned to leave. Don't you remember the company's rules? The Chinese tunic suit sneered. You want to leave just like that? What kind of place do you think the company is? Can you just come and go as you please? You know so many secrets of the company. If you don't leave behind a tongue, I'm afraid the big boss won't be at ease. The bald man knew that this was a threat from the second boss, Red Guagua. It was definitely impossible to cut off his tongue now, but since the second boss had said so, his meaning was also very clear. As long as he pointed a finger at the big boss could send someone to find him at any moment and cut off his tongue to prevent him from talking nonsense. The bald man didn't think the company was despicable and dark before, but now he suddenly felt that it was quite dark and scary. In the past, there were people who left and had their tongues cut off. He almost did it himself. Now that he thought about it, it really shouldn't have been like this. Just to keep a secret, they had to harm a person and make him unable to speak for the rest of his life. Wasn't this too much? Alas, it was fine if he didn't stay in this company, but he, the bald man, had done a lot of immoral things. The sea of bitterness was boundless, and he could turn back to the shore. Today, he thought that he had turned over a new leaf. Shi Lanhua still regarded the bald man as a brother. After all, they had worked together for so long. He wanted to say a few good words in front of the second boss, but when he saw the gloomy face of the second boss, he finally gave up. He knew that it was useless to say anything. If he didn't do it well, the second boss would dislike him because of this. That result was definitely not worth the loss. For the sake of his future, it was better to forget it. Chapter 12:26. Ma San'er had been watching the movements of the car. When Su Yun came back, he immediately reported everything he saw to Su Yun. Su Yun chuckled. This matter was truly interesting. At first glance, Baldy looked like the stubborn type. He lowered his head and walked towards the highway without any hesitation. Looking at his posture, where was he running to? He was truly a ferocious person. Su Yun gave Ma San'er a look. Ma San'er understood and sneaked out of the car to catch up with Baldy. At this time, the people in the Mercedes-Benz Yana didn't dare to pay attention to Baldy because of their second boss's mood. Baldy leaving was his business. No matter how good their relationship was, they couldn't ruin their own future because of his departure. Some things were predestined. It was all fate. People's fate was predetermined by the heavens. Which line of work you could do well in, which line of work you couldn't do well in, were all predetermined by the heavens. Even if you didn't accept it, you couldn't do anything. These words were all brainwashed by the big boss. There was only one purpose, and that was to make them accept their fate. Even if they died in this line of work, it was something that was predestined. They couldn't blame others. This brainwashing method seemed a little silly, but it was really useful. This made many of his subordinates believe in fate because of this sentence. They accepted their fate and felt that they could only do this in their lives. When the Baldy was feeling proud of his feat, Marsander patted him on the shoulder and said, "Brother, what's the situation? What are you going to do alone? Get on the highway. There's a speed limit on the highway. Although you can't exceed the speed limit, you can't be too slow. If you're too slow, it's easy to get into trouble." "What do you mean?" Baldy turned around and saw Marsander's small eyes. His face was a little ugly. "Brother, didn't you say that you were sleeping in the car? Why did you get up to send me off when you saw me leaving?" "Bro, that person is not a bro. That is our boss. Have you ever seen an underling sleeping in the boss's car?" Marsander said, "I also told you clearly that our boss said that to fool you." The bald man's eyes darkened. "Oh, so you're openly admitting it? Are you messing with me? Seeing that I was chased away by our boss, are you here to show off in front of me? Let me tell you, don't show off. I don't care. Besides, do you really think our boss is a fool? He's very smart. I'm just testing you guys. It seems like there's really something between you guys. Something really happened." Marsander chuckled. "But I'll give you two choices now. First, go back and report to your boss and see if he believes you. Even if he believes you, if he still puts you in an important position after you tore apart his face once, then I, Marsander, have never been in society in my life." After a pause, Marsander chuckled again. Look at history. How many ministers who didn't give face to the emperor lived long? Don't you think that's the case? Think about what you're doing. Isn't it easy to make your boss angry? There aren't many people who listen to honest advice these days. People like you don't suit the place you're in now. Your boss likes flatterers. But our boss is different. Our boss likes honest and grating people like you. That's why our boss is doing so well in the industry. Bro, think about it more. Opportunities are given to those who are prepared. Baldy became more and more confused. "Bro, what do you mean? What are you trying to instigate me to do?" Marsander's face darkened. "That's not how you use the word, instigate. I'm just pointing out a way for you. Even if you want to mingle, you have to mingle well. Don't you think so? So you're saying that as long as I mingle with you, I'll definitely mingle well, right?" Baldy said, "Hee, bluff. Keep bluffing." Marsander waved his hand. "I didn't say that you should mingle with me. Why should you mingle with me? I don't have any skills. I'm saying that you should mingle with our boss." Baldy's eyes lit up. "What? Become a gravedigger? I didn't know that I'm cut out for this line of work. If you really think that I can do it, then that's fine too. I haven't been to the ground before. Next time, I won't have lived in vain. But let's make it clear. I'm just going down to take a look out of curiosity. I'll stop after I do it once. I won't do more. Do you understand what I mean? I'll turn over a new leaf from today onwards. Do you understand what I mean? I think your head has been clamped by a door before." Marsander was a little speechless. "You really think that we're people who do illegal work? Let me tell you, the things that we do are suitable for people like you who have turned over a new leaf. What do you do?" Baldy smiled disdainfully. "Tell me about it. Let me hear how proper it is." "Haha, you're quite funny. You told a lady at the massage center that their health care is proper. Who would believe that? Why would you ask them for a proper health care? It's better to go to the hospital. It's cheap and reassuring. If they paralyze you, you can still get some money to spend. F***ck. I don't believe you. Then I'll point it out to you. Are you in the antique imitation business?" Marsander directly said it out of anger. "Who asked you to force me again?" Baldy couldn't smile anymore. You can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want. Which eye of yours saw me fiddling with antiques? Imitation. Humph. It's you tomb robbers who do immoral things. Aren't you afraid that your descendants won't have a *** when they're born? Don't be so uncultured. Marsana glared. Do you think that I'm not clear enough? Then I'll tell you in detail. Do you dare say that you didn't participate in the three-colored Tang Wong? Humph. What else do you have to say? Baldy heard this and felt a headache. You're the police. You guessed it, but we're a little worse than the police. Ma San seized the opportunity to boast. Of course, he wouldn't miss it. We're Interpol. Have you heard of Interpol? Do you know what Interpol is? Interpol, that's awesome. Baldy had heard of Interpol in movies. Now that he saw one in real life, he was a little stunned. You're not fooling me, right? Interpol. Why do you speak with an accent? Don't you have an authentic London accent? Can't Interpol have a hometown? Marsana rolled his eyes at Baldy. I won't talk nonsense with you. I'll give you a chance to redeem yourself by doing good deeds. I'll be frank with you. I know everything that you've done. I have a spy in your organization. Do you know what a spy is? Baldy nodded. He knew what a spy was. He had watched Nicholas Tsay's movies and knew a little about what a spy did. It was similar to an undercover agent. However, an undercover agent was a civil servant with status and authority. An informant was nothing. If something happened and he was hacked to death by the boss, then he would just be hacked to death. There might be some compensation, but he definitely wouldn't be given a job for his wife or children, nor would he be given a first-class merit. If you agree to cooperate with us, then we might not sentence you to death. We might even give you some benefits. But if you don't cooperate, Marsana chuckled. Anyway, you have no one to protect you now. If you don't cooperate, then you're of no use to us. At the very least, you'll be sentenced to 30 to 50 years. We'll also arrange for you to be sent to a prison with a bunch of broken chrysanthemums. You'll be able to enjoy the last moments of your life. F***K. Baldy was a little scared. If he had to spend the last moments of his life with a bunch of broken chrysanthemums, then he might as well bang his head against the wall and die now. If you're interested, then come and talk. If you're not, then leave. Marsana said, I won't arrest you either. But as soon as you leave this service area, you'll be tracked and located immediately. If I don't arrest you, then someone else will. At that time, there won't even be anyone to put in a good word for you. Do you understand? Baldy took a deep breath. What if I'm interested? If I'm interested, then at least I can reduce your sentence. Redeeming yourself by doing good deeds is different. Marsana pretended to be serious. If you do good deeds, then you'll be able to speak tough. Chapter 12:27. When the bald-headed man and Marsana got into the car, they immediately understood that they were really targeted when they were at the nightclub. Mother ***, they even pretended to be a waiter and gave us a bottle of wine. This group of Interpol really knows how to F***ck up. They can come up with all kinds of ideas. Looking back, they were really worthy of being Interpol. They were really bad ***s. Even the nightclub waiter was so good at pretending. He didn't feel anything wrong at all. How could he know that Shen Chen was definitely a regular in the nightclub? What didn't he know? He just pretended to be a waiter. Even if he pretended to be a boss, he could pretend to be serious. Brother, you Interpol really put in a lot of money. In order to follow us, you even gave us a bottle of wine. You are rich. The bald-headed man smiled and raised his eyebrows at Shen Chen. However, according to my observation in the past few days, the brothers from all walks of life in Yanjing City were all called by you. What kind of method did you use to make them work for Interpol? Interpol? What does that mean? Shen Chen didn't understand and glanced at Su Yun and Marsana. Marsana blinked at him. He didn't understand what Marsana meant. After all, they didn't know each other well. It was normal to have no tacit understanding. Su-yun knew that this must be the result of Ma San-er bragging, but now it was inappropriate to say anything in front of the bald-headed man. He said seriously to the bald-headed man, "He told you who we are. You should think about it yourself. Do you want to help us or continue to protect them? You are the leader at first glance." The bald-headed man saw that the two people in the car were very respectful to Su-yun, and he understood most of it in his heart. "Leader, since I am here, it means that I really want to cooperate with our criminal police brothers. If you don't mind, I can be your professional informant in the future. Brother Yun, look at how good this kid is. If we don't use it, he will feel embarrassed." Ma San-er chuckled and told Su-yun not to expose his lies. Interpol was just bragging. It would be troublesome if Baldy didn't cooperate after being exposed. Su-yun also saw the situation. Since the bald man was so interested in cooperating with Interpol, he didn't want to hurt his feelings. "As long as you cooperate, we will try to meet some of your requirements, as long as things are done well." The bald man nodded vigorously and sold out his second boss without hesitation. It was because he didn't pay attention to it first, so don't blame him for being disloyal. Why was it that the second boss could kick him away, but he couldn't turn around and bite back at him? Yes, of course it's possible. It's too good. Not only did he want to bite back, but he also wanted to bite back fiercely. He wanted to let his second boss know that he, Baldy Chong, wasn't the idiot in the cartoon who could be bullied by Xiong Air. "Leader, they have already called people. If I didn't guess wrongly, they are preparing to kill you." The bald-headed man said, "Our second boss is very sinister. He is really hard to deal with. He already guessed that there was something wrong with you." After saying this, the bald-headed man couldn't help but admire his second boss again. F***ck, he was really fooled by this group of Interpol. But the face was already exposed, and his bald-headed man was also in the tiger's den. He didn't even have the chance to go back. Forget it, forget it. Since things had already come to this, don't blame him for being unkind. Oh, who did they call? Su-yun was a little surprised. He didn't expect that the other party would want to do something on the highway. They were quite stubborn. Lei Yu and Lei Zhe. The bald-headed man said, "The driver is his younger brother Lei Zhe. He alone is hard enough to deal with. If his brother Lei Yu comes, it will be even harder to deal with. Lei Yu is much more ruthless than his younger brother. If our second boss is the king of hell, then Lei Yu and Lei Zhe are the black and white impermanents under him. They specialize in capturing souls." Ma San-er touched the goosebumps on his arm. "Can you not say it in such a superstitious way? Why are you using such a metaphor?" "I am not joking. I am telling the truth." The bald-headed man said, "Lei Yu and Lei Zhe are our second boss's personal Rakshasa. They have killed at least 80 if not 100 people for our second boss." When the bald-headed man said this, he was very serious. He was also quite scared of Lei Yu and Lei Zhe. It seemed that these two people had really killed people and seen blood. Moreover, they had to be very fierce. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to scare people who made a living in this industry. "What you mean is that they stopped at this service area to wait for people to come and kill us?" Ma San-er wasn't afraid. With Brother Yun following them, he didn't believe that anyone could kill them. The bald-headed man nodded vigorously. "That's right. Second boss already asked Lei Yu to come here." After a pause, the bald-headed man was still a little confused. "It is reasonable to say that Lei Yu has always been following second boss. Why didn't he follow this time?" Su-yun immediately thought of the burly young man who overturned the two road rage drivers on the highway. If he guessed correctly, that burly young man was the Lei Yu mentioned by the bald-headed man. Humph. Their second boss's configuration wasn't low. He even brought 2 bodyguards when he went out. Brother Yun, the person he mentioned, we should have seen him before. Ma San-er also thought of the car accident on the highway. The scene of the burly young man easily throwing the 2 road rage drivers onto his car was still vivid in his mind. Su-yun nodded and continued to ask the bald-headed man, Where are you going to transfer the tricolor Tang King? We're not transferring it. The bald-headed man said, since this thing is being auctioned in Yanjing, it will be sold in Yanjing. The auction ended 5 days ago. The tricolor Tang King was bid at a high price of 250 million. A lot of hidden bosses already knew about it. They are all very interested. It can be sold for 300 or 400 million. Why do we need to transfer it? Then why hasn't it been sold yet? Shen Chen was a little surprised. Yanjing City was too small. A matter could be spread all over the city within a night. The bald-headed man glanced at Shen Chen angrily. Isn't it because of those guys from all walks of life? You guys are everywhere. Where are we going to sell it? If you guys expose us when we sell it, then our credibility will be gone. How do you know those people are watching you? Shen Chen was a little puzzled. Intuition. The bald-headed man said, if we don't have intuition in our line of work, we would have gone in long ago. Don't you think so? It's better to be safe than sorry. We won't make a decision rashly. Shen Chen grinned. This group of people was really organized and disciplined. They were quite awesome. They were able to handle everything well. So, the thing is still in Yanjing? Su Yun was stunned. Yes. The bald-headed man said. The second boss said that he found a famous depositor and bought a high insurance to absolutely guarantee the safety of the thing. The main reason we left is to avoid your sight. Su Yun raised his eyebrows. Then where are you going now? This. The bald-headed man was a little hesitant. Of course, he had his concerns. He was only selling the second boss now. If the second boss and the others were caught, he had nothing to worry about. However, if he provoked the Interpol headquarters and the big boss found out that he was the one who did it, he would definitely be chopped into minced meat in minutes. This was not a joke. The bald-headed man had to weigh the pros and cons. Chapter 12:28. Ma San'er's threat made Baldy's chrysanthemum numb and tense. Who dared to say that he was joking? What if he was serious? At that time, he wouldn't even have the chance to regret. This thing was really not a joke. There was no medicine for regret. He had to think about it carefully. Baldy frowned. What should he do? What should he do? If he did it well, he could become an informant to redeem himself. If he didn't do it well, not only would he not be protected, but he could also be killed by the big boss at any time. This kind of dilemma really made it difficult to make a choice. It's okay. Think about it carefully. Don't worry. Su Yun said, we have plenty of time. Sooner or later, we will find the evidence we want. If you say it now, you are cooperating. If you don't say it, you are covering up a crime. The reason is very simple. Think about it yourself and tell me when you have thought it through. It's up to you whether you're stubbornly persisting in going about things the wrong way, or whether you're willing to lay down your knife and become a Buddha. Okay. I'll say it. Baldy gritted his teeth. This time, we left Yanjing to avoid you. Because we are very clear that once this matter is targeted, it will definitely be a dead end. So we decided to go back to the company to lie low for a while. We will report this matter to the big boss and wait for the big boss decision. Ma San'er was a bit impatient. Just say where you are going. Who asked you why you are looking for your boss? We are asking where your company's headquarters is. Understand? Don't talk so much nonsense. Causeway Bay. Baldy finally chose to compromise. Compared to the possibility of his chrysanthemum being ruined, he would rather be killed by the big boss. Although neither of them had good endings, Baldy's character was still considered manly. He chose a straightforward one. A soldier would rather be killed than be humiliated. Those who said that a bad life was better than a good death were people without ambition and guts. Baldy would rather die than submit. At this moment, he sighed in his heart. PFFF. Ma San'er couldn't help but laugh out loud. Your grandpa. Causeway Bay? What, your boss is the gang leader, Brother Hao Nan. Are you trying to scare us? Why don't you say Peng Hu Bay? Peng Hu Bay is better. There is your grandma there. What do you mean by that? If we don't cooperate with you sincerely, don't make us feel suspicious. I am telling the truth, Baldy said. Our company's headquarters is in Causeway Bay. If I say even half a lie, I'll be killed by a car when I go out, okay? Why don't you believe me? Who would lie to you? Who in Causeway Bay doesn't know me, Baldy Chong? You'll know when you get there. Ma Sanner looked at Su Yun blankly. F***CK, isn't this going too far? Don't tell me we have to go to Hong Kong to arrest them? Causeway Bay was no small place. Hooligans were everywhere. Out of 10 people killed by falling electric poles, 9.5 of them were hooligans. If he went, he would be hacked to death. Su Yun frowned. It was impossible for him not to have any suspicions. This guy's jump was too big. He was directly thrown out of the continent. One must know that one country, two systems were particular. If Su Yun wanted to go there, he would have to consider the consequences first. This would be troublesome. Two systems were two different systems. Each governed their own. This was also a loophole. Many people used this to register their companies in Hong Kong and then did some illegal things in the mainland. They used the loophole in the country's regulations to seek some improper benefits. This was very likely. However, Su Yun did not understand. This kind of business was a crime no matter where it was. What was the point of doing it in Causeway Bay? Could it be that the technology there was more advanced? It was indeed possible that the imitations were better. Perhaps their big boss was from Hong Kong. The difficulty of this matter had increased by a few notches. CEO Su, do we need to go through any procedures to go to Hong Kong? It's impossible for anyone to go there just because they want to, right? Yes. If they really prepared everything and wanted to escape to Hong Kong, we really can't keep up. Su Yun, if that's the case, they don't need to stop at the service area to compete with us, right? They just went straight to Hong Kong. We don't know where they are going. We will be dumbfounded when we reach there. In the face of Su Yun's doubts, Ma Sanner and Shen Chen's eyes focused on the bald man again. They wanted to ask him if this matter was reliable. Go to Hong Kong for what? The bald man looked at them with a blank face. These guys must be crazy. Didn't they say that their company headquarters was in Causeway Bay? What do you think we are going to do? Ma Sanner was a little speechless. Of course, we are going to your company to check the accounts. Are we going to invite your boss for tea? But our boss is in Causeway Bay. The bald man was even more confused. Yes, isn't Causeway Bay in Hong Kong? Su Yun was also confused by the bald man. He was a little surprised. Listening to you, this Causeway Bay you are talking about isn't in Hong Kong? It has nothing to do with Hong Kong. The bald man's head was swelling. Our company is in Zhonghua Province, Tong Luo City. Tong as in Wuling, Luo as in familiar, and Wan as in unexpected. I really didn't expect it. Isn't this accent a little too serious? Tong Luo City can create the sound effect of Causeway Bay. This brother must have watched a lot of Young and Dangerous series since he was young. He was too immersed in the role. Your accent, did you go to Korea to get your tongue fixed? Can your Mandarin be a little more standard? Ma Sanner scolded in his heart. Tong Luo City, Zhonghua Province. Brother Yun, isn't Lu Nan someone's territory? Su Yun had already reacted. Zhonghua was Wei Yishan's territory. Wei Yishan was known as Zhonghua's smiling Maitreya. There was probably no one in Zhonghua who didn't know him. Your big boss isn't called Wei Yishan, right? Su Yun thought. If this was a coincidence, then it was too much of a coincidence. Old and new debts could be settled together. The bald man heard and snorted in disdain. Wei Yishan is nothing in front of our big boss. Everyone says he is a giant in Zhonghua. There are many people in Zhonghua who are bigger than Wei Yishan. He is just a drizzle. Why, do you know Wei Yishan? Don't tell me you want his help? Haha, He doesn't have that kind of reputation. Ma Saner spat. What are you thinking? Our brother Yun wants his help? Are you kidding? I'm just asking you. When we reach Zhonghui, we will deal with Wei Yishan as well. Wei Yishan also committed a crime? The bald man was stunned. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. Su Yun, Tongluo City should be the second largest city in Zhonghui. Moreover, cultural relics are often unearthed in that place. Your big boss really has a good eye for choosing that place to do business. He is much better than our second boss. However, our main target now is still our second boss's people. The bald man said, if Lei Yu comes later and you guys really want to fight, can I not go out? I will hide in the car. If I go out, I will definitely be torn apart by them. I am not kidding. Su Yun pointed at the entrance to the service area. Then you are in charge of watching. When that person called Lei Yu arrives, immediately inform us. It is not easy to be an informant. Chapter 1229. Finally, after nearly 3 hours of confrontation between the Mercedes-Benz and Su Yun's Cayenne in the service area, a shabby yellow taxi appeared at the entrance of the high-speed service area. It was almost 3 o'clock in the morning, and sleepiness invaded everyone. Ma Saner had already fallen asleep with a yawn. Shen Chen also kept dozing off because he hadn't rested well in the past 2 days, but his responsibility forced him to keep his eyes open. He and Ma Saner had different identities. He still wanted to show off in front of Su Yun, so he couldn't just lie in the driver's seat and snore while Boss Su was resting. It was even more impossible for the bald-headed man to sleep. The leader in the driver's seat was so energetic. Even if he had to knock his head against the wall and pinch his thigh, he would never let himself fall asleep. However, every time he looked at Ma Saner, who was sleeping comfortably, he would wonder if this guy was an Interpol. Which Interpol would sleep while working on a case? Not to mention the bald-headed man, even a 3-year-old child in kindergarten would think that there was a problem. Interpol in the movie didn't need to sleep all day. They could take out a Desert Eagle with just a flip of their pockets. They could even start a car parked on the side of the road. Even if they were shot, they had to bring the bad guys to justice. How could they fall asleep without doing anything? The shabby yellow taxi obviously didn't belong to a regular taxi company. How could taxi companies have such an old car? This Tianjin Dafa was the mainstream yellow car from the 1980s to the 1990s. In the past, it was incomparably glorious in many cities in Huaxia. It ran rampant for 10 years, and its contributions couldn't be ignored. Once upon a time, yellow cars running all over the streets were a different kind of scenery. Before the yellow car appeared, there were also taxis in Beijing. However, those taxis were different from the taxis in the current sense. They were expensive, and they didn't stop on the road. Instead, they served various hotels. The cars were also more high-end, such as Toyota Crown cars. This was definitely considered a luxury in the 1980s. It cost 5 yuan to take a taxi, and the worker's salary was only 20 or 30 yuan a month, right? It was the appearance of the yellow car that broke people's dream of taking a taxi. It was cheap and comfortable. This kind of yellow mask should have faded out in 1994, because there was a red whirlwind at that time. Hongxiali led to a red era. At that time, Citroën and Jetta appeared. Huang Dafa was completely eliminated. By the time the Olympics are held, Beijing Xiali and Fukang will be obsolete. Huaxia is even using Hyundai Sonata in 3rd-tier and 4th-tier cities. Some 2nd-tier cities can even use Passat, let alone Beijing. Of course, there were all kinds of taxis in Beijing. But the new problem was that it was difficult to get a taxi, especially during the peak period. It was too difficult to get a taxi. Everyone was fighting for it. Because of this, disputes happened everywhere. However, it shouldn't be difficult to get a taxi in the middle of the night, right? Although there were still groups of young men and women who drank too much at the nightclub and were ready to go home, the taxi drivers did not like to take these people. If they vomited in the car, it would not only delay things, but some of them were also unwilling to pay more for lost work and cleaning fees. In the end, they had to call the police to solve the problem. It was not easy to run a night job. Although the rent was not much, they would rather run out of money than to get into trouble. However, it must be admitted that no normal taxi driver would take a person to the highway service area in the middle of the night. It was too far to go back and forth. One job would take up an entire night, and the income would not be much. Those who would take this kind of job could only be unlicensed taxi drivers. It was not easy to feed their families. Now, Beijing was very strict in catching unlicensed taxi drivers. Recently, there were more incidents, such as female university students who mistakenly took an unlicensed taxi and were killed. There were not many unlicensed taxi drivers like Lu Handong in the principal's novel. A burly figure walked out of this yellow mask that was definitely scrapped. The unlicensed taxi driver also got out of the car and pestered him. "Brother, when you came, you said that the first service area in Beijing is this. That's why I took this job for 300 yuan. But how many is this? It's the third one. I still have to go back and pay the highway fee. I still have to work harder. If this doesn't work, at least 1,000 yuan. I said 500 yuan, so it's 500 yuan. I threw the 200 yuan in your car." The burly youth said, "You won't pay for this. I'm running a job to earn money. I know I won't pay, but you have to let me earn." The unlicensed taxi driver was a little angry. This guy's words were too interesting. What did he mean by he won't pay? Was the energy spent in the middle of the night for nothing? The burly youth was startled. "Then tell me, how much do you want to earn? Your broken car has been scrapped for 10 years. It's good that I dared to sit in it. You can't find a second person in Beijing who dares to sit in your car. You can only run at 90 on the highway. You can't even brake 100 kilometers per hour. You have to run for 3 hours on this broken road. You still have the nerve to ask for money. I'm calling safety first. If I want to run, I can run for 200 yuan." The unlicensed taxi driver roared in dissatisfaction. The bald man pointed in the direction of the yellow mask outside the window. "Leader, leader, the thunderstorm is coming, coming. It's that guy. The one who argued with the driver. That." Shen Chen raised his spirit. Ma San'er, who was in a daze, also opened his eyes. He yawned and looked outside the window. After sleeping for a while, his eyes were still swollen. He couldn't see people clearly. Su Yun noticed the man when he came out of the yellow mask. Because he had seen him before, there was no need for the bald man to introduce him. "Look, the thunderstorm has a bad temper. He will be angry in a while," the bald man said nervously. As soon as his voice fell, the burly youth over there grabbed the unlicensed taxi driver's face and slammed it on the side window of the yellow mask with a bang. Because of the violent impact, half of the unlicensed taxi driver's body directly fell into his car. His 2 legs were hanging outside, and there were a lot of broken glass on the ground. Because it was at night, there were no people at all. No one saw it except for Su Yun and the others. The burly youth didn't hesitate. He strode toward the black Mercedes-Benz Elegance. He didn't seem to be worried about what he had just done to the driver. At first glance, this person was a shrewd guy. His heart was as still as water. He was completely unperturbed. "This person is really interesting," Shen Chen sneered. "President Su, I will take care of him in a while. What I hate most is bullying the weak. How can the unlicensed taxi drivers be called the weak? How many of them are not village bullies, hooligans, and rascals?" Ma San'er was a little prejudiced against unlicensed taxi drivers because he had been cheated by a small group of shameless unlicensed taxi drivers. Shan Chen's explanation was very reasonable. If they really don't lack a job, who will take the risk of infamy and high fines? Can they not be the weak in society? Can the weak only be a group of civil servants who don't do proper work all day long? Their expenses are reimbursed by the unit, and they complain about low wages every day? I really agree with you on this. Ma San'er gave a thumbs up and quickly asked Su Yun, "Brother Yun, what should we do now?" They found Lu Bu, but we didn't invite Lu, Guan, Zhang. Should we take action? If the enemy doesn't move, I won't move. Su Yun narrowed his eyes. He didn't expect the help of his brothers in the special forces. The main thing was that he could completely solve it by himself. There was no need to make a big fuss. Now, Su Yun's mind was not thinking about how to subdue them, but how to persuade them to take him to their Causeway Bay company. Chapter 12:30. After receiving the call from the second boss, Lei Yu immediately rushed over by taxi. Because it was late at night and he had to come to such a place, he had no choice but to take an unlicensed taxi. Even the unlicensed taxi was unwilling to do this job, so he finally got on this old yellow car. Along the way, Lei Yu was worried that the car would suddenly lose its wheels or break its axle. If that happened, it would be lucky if he could even survive. After all, even the legendary car's Fawn Volkswagen had broken axles one after another, let alone this Huang Dafa from the 1980s. However, this Huang Dafa from the 1980s had been running around Yanjing without any major incidents. Only the engine made a few noises on the road like a tractor. Other than that, there were no other problems. This quality was definitely the conscience of the industry. It was much better than those awesome joint venture brands that only knew how to monopolize sales. Lei Yu walked to the front of the car and lightly knocked on the driver's window. In the driver's seat, Lei Zhe immediately knew who it was and quickly rolled down the window. After confirming that it was his brother, he turned to the Chinese tunic suit and said, "Boss, Lei Yu is here." "Boss." After confirming that the boss in the car was not resting, Lei Yu opened the door. Shi Lanhua and the others in the car all greeted Lei Yu. A relaxed smile appeared on the face of the Chinese tunic suit. Lei Yu's status in the company was completely different from his brother Lei Zhe's, so Shi Lanhua and the others treated Lei Yu with absolute respect. They would never treat him as casually as they treated Lei Zhe. Everyone knew what kind of relationship Lei Yu had with the second boss. It was not an exaggeration to say that he was the second boss's son. "Where's Baldy Chong?" Lei Yu glanced at Shi Lanhua, the protruding ears, and Shorty Lu. He immediately noticed that one person was missing in the car. He knew that the second boss did not like Baldy, but if they quarreled at this time, he would lose his cool. After all, Baldy was involved in the tricolor Tang Wang incident. If he wanted to cause trouble for the company, it would be very easy. Although the big boss in the company had the ability to deal with it, it was completely unnecessary. He quarreled with me for a while and quit. The Chinese tunic suit said faintly, "Since he believes that those who follow us are fine, then it's really not suitable for him to stay by my side." Lei Yu frowned and glanced at the black Kian not far away. He turned back to the Chinese tunic suit and said, "Boss, this time, isn't it a little inappropriate? After all, among all the people on the bus, perhaps only Lei Yu dared to speak to the man in Chinese tunic suit like that. If it were anyone else, they would probably end up like Baldy. Unless you have the ability to make the boss absolutely trust you, you can't question the boss's decision. After all, he participated in so many things in the company. Even if he didn't make any contributions, he should at least have worked hard." The man in the Chinese tunic suit sneered, "Lei Yu, have you ever seen me put anyone in an important position in the company who only works hard? What the company needed were talents, not coolies. If I need coolies, I can go to the labor market and pay 200 yuan a day. There are a lot of people there. Every one of them was more powerful than Baldy. You're asking for less than him." "Boss, after all, he was involved in the matter of the tricolor tanking. I'm afraid that he..." Lei Yu's expression was somewhat ugly as he said, "Is this matter really that serious?" The man in Chinese tunic suit said with a sullen face, "You can ask them how Baldy Chong fell out with me. Lei Yu, I know that everything you do is for me and the company, but you don't have to think too much about this." "Yes." Lei Yu nodded and said, "If Baldy Chong dares to talk too much outside, even if I have to chase him to the ends of the earth, I will definitely catch him and let boss deal with him personally. Even if he doesn't talk too much, I won't leave a scourge outside." The moment the man in Chinese tunic suit left, he already wanted to kill him. If it wasn't for the fact that someone was watching them, he would have already asked Lei Zhe to take care of this matter. Lei Yu understood the second boss's temper and didn't try to persuade him anymore. He pointed at the Qian not far away and said, "Boss, we saw this car in Yanjing City. It seems that they have been watching us for a long time." The man in Chinese tunic suit nodded. "Indeed, they have been watching us for a long time, but we only found them today. I still don't know where they came from. But I would rather kill 1,000 by mistake than let one go. Lei Yu, you should know why I asked you to come here." Lei Yu nodded. "Understood, I will kill them." After that, Lei Yu looked at the yellow car and said to the man in Chinese tunic suit, "Boss, you guys leave first. I'm afraid it will take some time for the taxi driver to wake up. I will find a way to use his car and frame him." Although there were surveillance cameras in the service area, the surveillance cameras had blind spots. Coincidentally, the place where the taxi stopped was the blind spot of the surveillance cameras. Maybe the taxi driver deliberately stopped there. Maybe he even thought that if the passenger didn't pay, he would grab the bag and run away. But the difference between reality and his dream was too big. He didn't expect that he would be taken care of by someone else. The man in Chinese tunic suit knew that Lei Yu had a way. He nodded. "Then you do your job first. After you do it, you go, and we will leave." The second boss was cautious. He had to see the end of the matter with his own eyes. Even if the person doing it was his most trusted Lei Yu, he had to see it with his own eyes. Anyway, he wasn't in a hurry. If they left first and alerted the enemy, it might be difficult for Lei Yu to take action. "Okay." After Lei Yu finished speaking, he walked straight to the front of the yellow van and pulled up the unlicensed driver who was lying on the door of the van. He opened the back door and threw him in. Then, he also took off his clothes and got into the back seat. In the middle of the night, if they were seen by others, they would think that two gay men were having an affair. 5 minutes later, Lei Yu came out wearing the taxi driver's clothes. He also found a hat in the car and put it on his head, almost covering his eyes. Then, Lei Yu drove the yellow noodle to the Qian where Su Yun and the others were. He added 300 yuan worth of gasoline and slowly drove the yellow noodle to the side of the Qian. In the car, Su Yun and the others were observing all of this. Su Yun smiled slightly. This guy was really bold. Was he going to do it so openly? Su Yun could also guess his purpose of changing into the taxi driver's clothes. It must be to frame someone else. Anyone who understood could see his motive at a glance. Lei Yu stopped the van and calmly got out of the car. He went directly to the Qian. Su Yun directly caught him off guard and rolled down the window. "Brother, what's the matter?" Lei Yu was stunned for a moment. He knew that the other party must have seen what he was doing. No matter what he said now, everyone knew what he was up to. He might as well be direct. "Yes, I have something to talk to you about." If Su Yun and the others got out of the car and ran away, he would definitely kill them immediately. But Su Yun didn't do that. Instead, he looked at him with a smile, pursed his lips, and shook his head. "Let's talk in the car." The bald-headed man sitting in the back of the Qian was stunned. What the F***CK is going on? If Lei Yu got in, the first person he would kill would definitely be him. He hurriedly asked Ma San'er to change seats for him. Before Ma San'er could understand the situation, the bald-headed man sat on the other side of the door and squeezed Ma San'er over. Lei Yu opened the car door without hesitation. He glanced around. There were 4 people in the car, but he still sat in the car without hesitation. Chapter 1231. When Lei Yu got on the car, he saw a reflection on the top of his head. Baldy Chong. That bastard really betrayed him and became his enemy. This was what he was most worried about. It was also the reason why he did not want the second boss to fall out with Baldy Chong. Baldy Chong was brainless and easy to trick. The originally harmonious atmosphere in the car was instantly covered by a murderous aura. Lei Yu's murderous aura was very heavy. At least, it made Su Yun feel uncomfortable. An expert. Su Yun smiled slightly. As he spoke, He released his aura and began to suppress the opponent's murderous aura. Lei Yu was stunned. What a strong aura! The opponent's strength was definitely not below his. If he wanted to win, he had to catch him off guard. Lei Yu calculated in his heart. With the opponent's strength, he had no chance of winning. However, he had to kill Baldy Chong because he did not know how much information the opponent could get from Baldy Chong. Thinking of this, Lei Yu silently produced a sharp short spike in his hand. It directly stabbed towards Ma San'er's face. If he wanted to kill Baldy Chong, he had to get rid of the person in the middle. Ma San'er did not realize that the opponent wanted to kill him the moment he got on the car. He did not even have time to prepare for a heart-to-heart talk. Isn't this too ridiculous? Can't you have some manners? The moment you got on the car, you called for a dagger. You did not even have time to prepare. If this dagger pierced his face, even if he did not die, his face would be disfigured. How would Ma San'er survive in the future? He was about to marry his girlfriend. Did he have to postpone it for a year and go to Korea for plastic surgery? Then again, this was also an opportunity. Ma San'er made up his mind. If you can't stab me to death, I will make myself as pink as TFBOYS and sing a song on the internet called Communist Children's Unity Song. Maybe I can become popular in half of Asia. At that time, the Huaxia girls would no longer call him Oppa. They would all turn over a new leaf and become Ma San'er's fans. Just when Ma San'er was pondering about accepting all the reality, a hand quickly stepped forward and grabbed the short thorn of the thunderstorm. This move was really steady, accurate, and ruthless. Due to the direction of their seats, it was inconvenient for Su Yun to make a move. Even if he wanted to stop Lei Yu, he was powerless. Then who was the one who saved him this time? Ma San'er felt a burst of gratitude in his heart. Looking at Shan Chen's bleeding palm, he felt a bit of mixed feelings in his heart. At first, Shan Chen wanted to come, but he refused. He felt that even if he came, he wouldn't be able to help. But now, Shan Chen's help was a great help. Helping was a big deal. Without hesitation, he grabbed the knife that was about to take his life. "Your opponent is here," Shan Chen said coldly. To be honest, Su Yun didn't expect Lei Yu to be a master, a supermaster, while Shan Chen was just a ruffian in Beijing. The two of them were not on the same level at all. If it was another person, whether it was Lin Gu or Chou Yun, Su Yun wouldn't be surprised if they could catch the knife. Even if it was Ma San'er himself, Su Yun would think it was possible. However, he couldn't believe that Shan Chen could do it. After all, he was an ordinary person, and ordinary people should do what ordinary people should do. Lei Yu was also a little surprised. When he sat in the car, he only felt the aura of a master. There was no doubt that this master was the person in the driver's seat. The pressure he released made him feel uneasy. However, he couldn't feel the aura of a master at all from the person sitting in the passenger's seat. However, his full-powered attack had been caught. The price Shan Chen had to pay to grab the knife was obvious to all. The skin and flesh of his palm had been completely torn, and the wound had exposed his bones. Enduring the pain and still holding the blade, his perseverance was definitely not something an ordinary person could bear. Ma San'er scolded, "Despicable. Sneak attack my ass." Ma San'er, who was about to explode, actually waved his fist. This was definitely not Ma San'er's style. Ma San'er considered himself a gentleman, and he liked to use his mouth and not his fists. Even he couldn't bear it. It was imaginable how much he wanted to slap the face of the guy sitting opposite him. Of course, with Ma San'er's beginner's kung fu, it was not enough to deal with a super master. Lei Yu reacted quickly and stabbed out a second time. At this time, Su Yun, who couldn't bear it anymore, reacted at the same time. He turned around and punched Lei Yu's face. Lei Yu was only focused on dealing with Ma San'er and the bald man. He even forgot about the most dangerous person in the car. The aura of the fist made people feel suffocated. Lei Yu only had a split second to think about it. After that split second, Lei Yu finally understood what an insta-kill was. The fist hit the center of Lei Yu's skull, and Lei Yu's brain was instantly broken. This was even faster than drinking. Looking at the limp Lei Yu, the bald man's chin almost fell to the ground. What the F***ck? What happened just now? He didn't even see it. It was too fast. In a flash, Lei Yu, who he had always admired, was paralyzed. Not to mention exchanging blows with the opponent, he was defeated without even seeing the opponent's move. An instant kill. Lei Yu was convinced. In the Mercedes-Benz elegance, the man in the Chinese tunic suit watched Lei Yu enter the Cayenne with a sneer on his face. In his mind, he kept imagining how Lei Yu would stab the dagger into the opponent's heart, and how he would tear the opponent's throat open. Just thinking about it made him excited. That's right, he was excited. They dared to follow him and go against Ning Zhongxing. That was going against the King of Hell. Boss, do you think Brother Lei will have a problem by himself? Too much time had passed. Shi Lanhua finally couldn't help but ask. Ning Zhongxing still had that cold smile on his face. Impossible, the things that Lei Yu does have never let me down. He must be torturing those guys. He must let them know that we are not to be trifled with. Lei Zhe, who was in the driver's seat, was also dissatisfied with Shi Lanhua's questioning. He pouted in disdain. Who was his brother? How could his brother lose to a few small fries who were following him with a car? You must be kidding. Shorty Lu also flattered. That's right, that's right. When has Brother Lei ever failed? There definitely won't be a problem. Just as everyone was waiting confidently for Lei Yu to get out of the car and greet them, the door opened and Lei Yu was kicked out. He fell to the ground without any reaction. The bald guy got out of the car right after him. Everyone in the Mercedes-Benz elegance was stunned. In the Cayenne, Ma San'er was carefully looking for all the hygienic items to bandage Shen Chen's wound. The wound was very deep, but fortunately, Su Yun had some special medicine. The bleeding stopped very quickly. Ma San'er was patient enough to bandage Shen Chen's wound because he was grateful for Shen Chen's righteousness. Then, the door of the driver's seat opened. Su Yun got out of the car and lit a cigarette. He provocatively raised his middle finger at the Mercedes-Benz elegance. It was an unceremonious disdain. Lei Zhe's head buzzed. How could he sit still when he saw his brother's limp body? He was going to fight it out with these people. Even if he had to give up his life, he would never let go of the few people who made his brother like this. Drive. Go now. Ning Zhongxing gave Lei Zhe an order that he couldn't understand at all. Lei Zhe looked at his second boss in shock. He had 1,000 words in his heart, but he didn't know what to say. Chapter 1232. Then what about my brother? Lei Zhe did not react at first, but he soon understood that the second boss was going to abandon his brother. If Baldy Chong was abandoned because of his hard work, then what about his brother? His brother Lei Yu had solved so many problems for the company over the years. Did Ning Zhongxing not remember? Now that Lei Yu was kicked out of the car, Ning Zhongxing was leaving just like that. He did not even hesitate. What was this? Everyone said that he, Ning Zhongxing, had always taken good care of Lei Yu, but now it seemed that it was just the icing on the cake. And now, when Lei Yu needed Ning Zhongxing's help, he ran away faster than anyone else. Maybe your brother is already dead. Are you going to risk your life for a dead man? Ning Zhongxing scolded. I told you to drive away, so drive away. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Am I the boss or are you the boss? Seeing the second boss so agitated, Shi Lanhua quickly pacified him. Boss, it's not Lei Zhe's fault. He was just anxious to save his brother. After all, Lei Yu is the one in danger. We are all very anxious. Ning Zhongxing glared. You are anxious? Am I not anxious? Let me tell you, I am more anxious than any of you. Lei Yu was groomed by me. Do you think I don't care about my own people? After a pause, Ning Zhongxing continued. I told you to leave quickly for your own good. Lei Yu was crippled and betrayed Baldy Chong. That's enough. I don't want anything to happen to you. Can't you see what I'm thinking? I'm doing this for your own good. I think you're just trying to save your own life. Lei Zhe said coldly. If you want to leave, that's your problem. I will never leave my brother behind. With that, Lei Zhe kicked open the car door and got out of the car without hesitation. Although Lei Yu often scolded him for the things he did, he knew that it was all because his brother expected better from him. He was strict with him for his own good. A friend in need is a friend indeed. At times like this, kinship and brotherly love were different from other friendships. This was how family should be. Lei Zhe got out of the car. Shi Lanhua looked at his second boss in confusion. Was he going to let him pass just like that? Shorty Lu was also at a loss. He looked at the second boss and then at Shi Lanhua. As a lackey, he needed someone to give him orders. Otherwise, he wouldn't know what to do. Protruding ears' eyes followed Lei Zhe. He felt that it was a pity that Lei Zhe valued his family so much. He knew that there was a tiger in the mountain, but he still chose to go to the mountain. He was much better than most people. Boss, what should we do? Shi Lanhua couldn't take it anymore. He had to get a clear order from his second boss. Ning Jiangxing's face was cold. He took one last look at Lei Zhe, who was walking away. He looked at Shi Lanhua emotionlessly. Don't tell me you don't even know how to drive a car. Lanhua, I value you because you have a brain. Shi Lanhua was stunned. He understood what Lei Zhe meant. Since Lei Zhe had decided not to leave with them, Lei Zhe had abandoned him quickly. Lei Yu and Lei Zhe were envied by many people. Lei Yu and Lei Zhe were appreciated by the second boss. They earned a lot of money and had a high status. They were definitely not on the same level as them. However, now that they were in trouble, they were abandoned without hesitation. Ning Jiangxing didn't feel that he had done anything wrong. It was the same logic as playing chess. In an emergency, one could sacrifice the pawn to protect the rook. At this moment, he, Ning Jiangxing, was the rook to protect the general. No matter who he abandoned, he had to protect himself. Drive. Go. Ning Jiangxing made the decision without hesitation. While Lei Zhe got out of the car, he might be able to help them for a while. Shi Lanhua gritted his teeth and finally made the decision. Go. At this time, everyone had to take care of themselves. Anyway, Lei Zhe volunteered to help his brother. The order to leave was given by his second boss. He couldn't blame him. The Mercedes-Benz Elegant left Lei Zhe behind and quickly left for Zhonghuai. Lei Zhe wasn't surprised. The moment he got out of the car, he knew that this was bound to happen. The second boss cherished his life very much. How could he not escape? Su Yun looked at the Mercedes-Benz in the distance and sneered in his heart. Human nature was so fragile. Once they encountered a serious conflict of interest with themselves, there were too many people who only cared about themselves. Your boss has left. What are you doing here? Su Yun didn't smoke the cigarette in his hand. He smiled at Lei Zhe, who was walking in front of him. Lei Zhe looked coldly at Su Yun and then at his brother who was lying on the ground. He narrowed his triangular eyes and said coldly, My brother is dead? Look at what you're saying. We are not murderous demons. Why would we kill people for no reason? Su Yun was still smiling. It's just that your brother deserved to die for what he did. Lei Zhe snorted. Knowing that his brother wasn't dead, he relaxed a lot. What do you want? The people you want to deal with are not us. They are the people in the car. The people in the car have left. I don't think we have anything to do with each other. If you say there isn't, then there really isn't. But you can't say that. Su Yun said, After all, we are people of status. How would I know if you have cut ties with each other? The bald man trembled as he looked at Lei Zhe. He was afraid that Lei Zhe would kill him. It was my second boss who was heartless first. If you have any grievances, go look for him. It has nothing to do with me. I didn't touch Brother Lei. You don't have the ability to touch him. Lei Zhe glanced at the bald man in disdain. He couldn't be bothered to argue with the bald man. He asked Su Yun directly, What do you want to let my brother go? The bald man heard this and immediately reminded Lei Zhe, "They are the Interpol. Do you think they will let you go? I can redeem myself now because I didn't kill anyone. The two of you are different." The bald man's words sounded like he was going to report them. Lei Zhe clenched his fist and the bald man quickly hid behind Su Yun. "We are different. If I get the chance, I will make you regret it." Lei Zhe didn't forget to threaten the bald man at this time. The bald man heard the threat and kept shrinking his head. Su Yun smiled. "I'm afraid it's not your turn to threaten people. The one who should be threatening people is me. What do you think?" Lei Zhe seemed to be prepared. He raised his head and looked at Su Yun. "Since I'm here, it means that I dare to say anything. The person in the car is our second boss, Ning Zhongxing. He has escaped back to the headquarters in Zhonghuai." "We already knew that." Ma San'er bandaged Shen Chen's wound and opened the car door. "Causeway Bay, we want to know who your boss is." Ma San'er looked at the bald man in disdain. "This little monk is too arrogant. He said he hasn't seen the big boss many times." "Humph, we haven't seen the big boss many times either." Lei Zhe said, "Since the bald man has already told you what I know, I have nothing else to say. If you want to know who our big boss is, you can only chase after our second boss and ask him." It seemed that the bald man and Lei Zhe weren't lying. Their big boss was indeed mysterious. Su Yun threw the cigarette butt on the ground and stepped on it. "We are not in a hurry to leave. Wait for the police." Lei Zhe's face changed. "What do you mean?" "Coincidentally, the dashcam in my car captured the scene of your brother robbing a taxi. You guys should cooperate." Su Yun smiled. "If you want to resist, that's fine. I'll play with you." Chapter 1233. The appearance of the police made the Baldy's legs and stomach tremble a little, but Su Yun did not push him out, because if they wanted to go to Zhonghuai's Tongluo City to find someone, it would be really inconvenient if they didn't have someone familiar with the place. Compared to Lei Yu and Lei Zhe, Baldy was easier to control. At least, he wouldn't be able to cause any trouble. He was different from Lei Yu and Lei Zhe. Sending them to the detention center was the best choice. Once they were there, it didn't matter if they harmed others or were harmed by others. It was a dog-eat-dog situation. Lei Zhe didn't resist and allowed the police to handcuff him. The reason was too simple. Only if he cooperated well could his brother get timely treatment in the hospital. If his brother had an accident because the treatment was late, he would feel guilty for the rest of his life. For his brother's sake, he was willing to accept it. At most, he would deal with the prison bully and wait for his brother to come in and enjoy his life. As he had fallen out with his second boss, Lei Zhe knew that no one would come to bail them out. Fortunately, it wasn't easy for the police to find evidence of their crimes. At most, they would be locked up for a while. As long as they could stand firm in the detention center, they would be able to contact the people inside and find a way to get them out. There was a saying that, "There is always a way out." Lei Zhe wasn't worried that his life would be ruined if he was locked up. The police took Lei Yu, Lei Zhe, and the unlicensed taxi driver away. The yellow-faced car that represented the yellow tornado of the 1980s was also towed away to be scrapped. When the unlicensed taxi driver woke up, he was still confused. He didn't even know what had happened. Just like that, he was fined 5,000 yuan. The car was also gone. This was what it meant to be unlucky. For no reason at all, he accepted a job that didn't pay him. Moreover, he was beaten up for no reason at all. It didn't matter. He could tolerate it. However, he couldn't accept being fined 5,000 yuan by the police. When he bought the car, he spent less than 2,000 yuan. It wasn't that he didn't expect to be caught by the police. If he was caught, he would definitely throw the car away and run away. He definitely wouldn't be so stupid as to wait for the police to issue him a ticket. But this time, when he opened his eyes and woke up, the police had already written a ticket in front of him. Moreover, they were in a high-speed service area. There was nowhere to hide. What the F*** is this? Brother, please do me a favor. I really don't know anything. The unlicensed driver immediately pretended to be stupid. This car isn't mine. I don't know how I fainted in here, but I must have been robbed. You didn't rob me, right? The black cab driver's performance was quite exaggerated. Stop yelling. Their dashcam had already recorded it. What are you still yelling about? If you keep talking, I'll add a crime of obstructing law enforcement to your name. By then, you won't even have a place to cry. The police were awesome. With just one sentence, the unlicensed taxi driver lost his temper and didn't dare to say a word. Soo-yoon shook the police leader's hand gratefully. Thanks to your timely arrival, the service area is now peaceful. If it wasn't for you, who knows what would have happened tonight? The police leader was quite satisfied with today's incident. Today's incident was like killing many birds with one stone. It was equivalent to completing 3 cases at the same time. One was robbery, one was assault with a knife, and one was driving an unlicensed car. 3 cases were completed together. How could he not feel good about it? When he returned, the leader would definitely praise him. Thank you for your cooperation. Ha ha ha, you're also a good citizen. If Hua-sia could have more people like you, then the world would have more love. The police leader was good at talking. He flattered Soo-yoon. If there's a chance, I'll arrange for someone to issue you a certificate for Good Samaritan. You should be the role model of the Communist Youth League and the idol of the young pioneers. Soo-yoon was speechless, but he had no choice but to nod. Leader, you are praising me to the heavens. This is what I should do. It's not a big deal. It's just a small matter, a small matter. It's nothing worth mentioning. It's been hard on all of you in the middle of the night. You should go back early to report and rest early. Okay. We won't delay your journey. The police leader nodded and said, We're leaving. Drive carefully on the road. Take note, don't drive when you're tired. If you're tired, take a nap in the service area. It won't take much time. You have to concentrate while driving. Holding the steering wheel is like stepping into the gates of hell. It's said that in the world of martial arts, only speed is unbeatable. That's why speed is so fast. This leader seemed to have been lectured too much. He liked to nag. Or rather, he might have been transferred from the traffic department, so he had an occupational disease. He had to say a few words about safe driving. Although his nagging was a little annoying, he had good intentions. Soo-yoon could still understand this and would definitely accept it. Yes. I will remember leader's words in my heart. I will definitely follow the traffic laws. I will definitely not break the rules or exceed the speed limit. Safety first, speed second. Yes. That's right. Safety first, speed second. What you said makes sense. I like it. I will definitely spread this saying. The police leader smiled and patted Soo-yoon's shoulder. He shouted to his subordinates, Let's go. After they left with Lei Yu and Lei Zhe, Ma Saner complained. That leader is so talkative. He just took them away, but he still wants to educate us on safe driving. Damn it. He had good intentions. Soo-yoon stared at him. Do you have aversion to leaders? I might really have it. I have to go to the hospital to take a look. Ma Saner mocked himself. If I'm really sick, I will take a look. I can't let myself be sick beyond cure. Soo-yoon ignored him and looked back at Shen Chen. How about you? How's your hand? President Soo, what medicine did you apply on me? Shen Chen was surprised and was about to ask Soo-yoon about it. He had such a big scar on his hand. It was quite serious when the police checked it just now. But now, it was slowly healing. It was simply amazing. That must be amazing. Soo-yoon had used the Heaven Fragrance Ointment and the Yellow Bone Pill on Shen Chen. Shen Chen's injury should be fine by dawn. He could even grab things directly. If he was in a good mood, he could even chop people with a knife. Brother Yun must have given you something good. Ma Saner said. You know what? You can't buy this in the underground world's black market without hundreds of thousands of yuan. Shen Chen believed that Ma San'er was not bragging. It was the first time he had seen such a magical medicine for external injuries. It was really amazing. This medicine definitely had a price. Thinking about those who were chopped up, how could they not be willing to fork out money when they were in great pain? Of course, they were willing to fork out money. What about 200,000 or 300,000? If it were him, he would definitely be willing to fork out this price. Okay, we should be on our way. Su Yun stretched lazily. I reckon they're already rushing back to Zhonghui to report the news. We can't be too late. If we're too late, the people who are prepared to welcome us will be too anxious. Will there be an ambush if we go? Ma San'er asked. Su Yun nodded. If we are late, there will definitely be an ambush. If we arrive earlier, the ambush might not be ready. Then what are we waiting for? I will drive. Brother Yun, we will switch shifts. We can't give them a chance to prepare. Ma San'er began to be active. Shen Chen frowned. I think they will definitely be ready with a call. Whether we arrive early or late, I'm afraid we won't be able to escape. Someone will greet us properly. This made sense. Ma San'er hesitated again. No, the second boss won't easily call the big boss to trouble him. If he can solve the problem, he will solve it himself. He is also afraid of being scolded by the big boss. The bald man said, so the earlier you go, the better it is for you. Chapter 1234. After the whole thing was over, Baldy's attitude towards Su Yun and the others had changed a little. He also seriously considered some problems. When they were on the road again, Baldy finally asked, You guys aren't Interpol, right? Ma San'er raised his eyebrows. What do you mean? Why would Interpol need to cooperate with our mainland's police? It's bullshit. Baldy was a little depressed. If you ask me, you guys just think that I'm honest, so you guys tricked me. I really should have known that this isn't the case. When I wanted to leave just now, you guys even threatened me, saying that if I dared to leave, I wouldn't be able to get out of the roundabout. If you guys really have people, then why did you contact the local police to deal with the Lei Yu and Lei Zhe brothers? Ma San'er pursed his lips. Facing Baldy, who exposed his big bluff, he grinned. Yo, looks like you're not stupid. Now that you know that we're not Interpol, you're not going to cooperate? Then why should I cooperate? You can't arrest me. If you want to arrest me, at most you'll report me to the police like how you dealt with Lei Yu and Lei Zhe. But your driving recorder didn't capture any evidence of me committing any crimes. Baldy said, besides, compared to them, I'm just second boss's underling. You guys don't have to drag me to the detention center, right? You might as well do me a favor and just let me go like a fart. In the future, I'll burn incense for Guanyin every 1st and 15th day of every month and ask her to bless you guys, okay? Okay my ass. Ma San'er scolded angrily and slapped the back of Baldy's head. Since you know that we're not from Interpol, then you should understand a simpler principle. Baldy was slapped on the head and his eyes were seeing stars. But because of the three people's ferocity, he didn't dare to act rashly. He said with a blank face, What principle? Interpol must have their own rules. They can't just kill people. Ma San'er started to boast again. But we are different. If you push us too far, you can just wait for your family to collect your corpse. Baldy, who had originally thought that he could be an informant, had a complete breakdown. He had just defected from one bandit's nest, and now he had fallen into another bandit's nest? Wasn't it a little too ruthless to threaten people with collecting their corpses? Unlike Ma San'er, Su Yun didn't have the ability to make up stories with Baldy. You don't have a choice now, but I won't let you work for us for free. As long as we go to Tongluo City and find your big boss, I will let you go. Do you think I'm stupid? If I go with you, do you think they'll let me go? Now, our second boss hates me to the core. Previously, he only wanted to cut off my tongue. Now, he probably wants to peel off my skin and pull out my tendons. Baldy complained to the heavens. Why did he encounter all kinds of problems? I know you're not stupid, but you have no other choice. Su Yun said, I told you to do this, so you can only do this. Don't you understand? Shen Chen's face was gloomy. He held the short thorn that Lei Yu had pierced his hand with. He turned back and said coldly, If you don't understand, let me explain it to you. The short thorn in his hand flashed a faint cold light, which made Baldy shiver all over. Baldy really felt that he had changed into another person. He used to be not afraid of death, but why didn't he dare to say a word of resistance in this car? He couldn't understand the reason. There was a thing called coercion. It was colorless, tasteless, and silent, but it would make people not dare to act rashly. It was under this coercion that Baldy became more and more cowardly. Although the fear in his heart couldn't be shown on the surface, it had been deeply rooted in the bottom of his heart. He was afraid of Su Yun. He was afraid of him from the bottom of his heart. He was scared to death. It was natural that he didn't dare to resist. Understood. Understood. Baldy looked at the cold light in Shen Chen's hand and didn't dare to say anything. He couldn't avoid this. He could only act according to the circumstances. The big boss might not know about this. He just had to pay attention to the second boss. When Ma San'er saw Baldy's posture, he suddenly scolded him. He was obviously bullying the weak and fearing the strong. He didn't treat him like a bean bun. He also shouted that he must fight Baldy one-on-one when they arrived at Tongluo City. He wanted to let Baldy know that he, Ma San'er, was not a vegetarian. Although he couldn't beat people like Lei Yu, it was more than enough to deal with Baldy. Baldy didn't say anything. He just let Ma San'er bully him. Scold him, scold him. Anyway, he wouldn't lose anything if he scolded him. At most, he would feel sullen in his heart for a while. Su Yun's car wasn't fast. After all, they were delayed for nearly 2 hours while waiting for the police in the service area. Even if the Mercedes-Benz Royal didn't exceed the speed limit, it would still be more than 240 kilometers. What's more, when Lei Yu and Lei Zhe were in trouble, they would definitely use the fastest speed to escape back. They would at least run more than 180 kilometers. These 2 hours were enough to cover 300 to 400 kilometers. There was still a distance of 1,300 to 400 kilometers from here to Zhonghua. The other party had already run so far away. There was no need to chase at all. How fast could they go if they chased? They wouldn't be able to cover more than 10 kilometers in an hour. They would also have to take the risk of speeding. Su Yun drove at a moderate speed. The words of the police leader were very reasonable. When driving, safety first, speed second. As long as nothing happened, it would be fast no matter what. If an accident happened, even the smallest scratch would take up 2 to 3 hours. This didn't even take into account the time it took to repair the car and paint the sheet metal. If something big happened, they might be sent to play mahjong with the King of Hell. If he felt that someone's mahjong skills were good, he might not let that person come back. At that time, even if they burned some paper money at home, it might not be enough to let the King of Hell win. Although they didn't drive fast, they didn't stop. Su Yun and Ma San'er took turns to take turns. Shen Chen's hand was injured, so he kept an eye on Baldy. Baldy was also a little afraid of him, so it was suitable for him to keep an eye on him. For more than 1,000 kilometers, they stopped 3 times in the middle of the road. They went to the toilet in the service area, and even had to eat on the road. They finally arrived at Tongluo City in Zhonghua Province before dark the next afternoon. Baldy's mood began to become heavier as they reached their destination. He felt suspicious and worried about everything he saw. Even when they got off the highway, there were a few young men waiting to pick them up in a Passat. He was a little panicked, worried that they were the people arranged by the second boss to keep an eye on them. Su Yun had already thought about this. Since the other party knew their license plate number and car, it was normal to arrange a few people to wait at the highway to pick them up. Therefore, he didn't care at all. It wasn't like he hadn't been followed before. It just so happened that Su Yun had something to do in Zhonghua. The person he was looking for was the guy who arranged for people to follow him for a while. Baldy, didn't you say that Wei Yishan was nothing in front of your big boss? Do you know where Wei Yishan is? Su Yun smiled and turned back. Baldy scratched his head embarrassedly. I was just bragging. No matter what, Buddha Wei is still a big boss in Zhonghui. Although our big boss is not bad, I can't say that Buddha Wei is nothing. Can you still speak the truth? Can you not talk nonsense? Ma San'er scolded angrily. Baldy didn't dare to resist. Buddha Wei is not in Tongluo City. He is in Jingguang City. Chapter 1235. Su Yun glanced at the bald man in disdain. Your big boss is in Tongluo while Wei Yishan is in the provincial capital. How dare you tell me that Wei Yishan is nothing in front of your big boss? That's a bit too much of a joke. Big brother, they are not on the same side. Our big boss can't do what Zhongye Wei does. Zhongye Wei can't do what our big boss does either. There's no difference between high and low. The bald man tried to justify himself. As long as you are a human, there's a difference between high and low. Ma San'er glared at the bald man. Just like you and me now. Don't you think you're lower than me? You have to do whatever I tell you to do. You have to do whatever I tell you to do. Don't you think so? Is there a difference between the two of us? The bald man was rendered speechless by Ma San'er's words. This was too much of a bully. Since Wei Yishan is in Golden Light City, take us to him first. Su Yun smiled. Maybe he can help with this. You know Zhongye Wei? The bald man was shocked. If he could avoid Tongluo Wan, he certainly didn't want to do so. After all, he didn't know what the second boss had prepared for him. If they were going to Golden Light City, it would be best to leave immediately. Su Yun nodded. You can say that. We've met before. Do you know the way or not? If you don't, get out of the car. We'll find him ourselves. I know. I know. Of course I know. The bald man said repeatedly. If he dared to get out of the car now, he would be dead meat. The bald man's brain worked very quickly. He suddenly realized that if he made a contribution, the boss in front of him might take him in as his subordinate. When are we leaving? You're unteachable. Of course, we're leaving now. Are you waiting for your second boss's people to keep an eye on us before we leave? Ma San'er wanted to slap the bald man when he saw the bald man's shiny head. The bald man was overjoyed. It's great that we're leaving now. That's great. The era of learning from Huan is outdated, okay? Su Yun was speechless. I'll drive. You lead the way. Baldy kept nodding his head. Let's just go straight to the highway. It's easier to travel on the highway, and it'll only take about an hour. If we take the national highway, it'll be slower. There are a lot of cars, and most of them are involved in transportation. They drive even faster at night, and it'll be a little congested. There's no need for you to lead the way if we're going on the highway, Su Yun said with a smile. I'm letting you lead the way so that we can get rid of the people your second boss arranged. The bald man was instantly on tenterhooks. Where? If we don't leave, it'll be hard to find out who's following us. Su Yun, now, just point the way to the most congested place in Tongluo City. In your line of work, you should have gotten rid of stalkers before, right? You should know what to do. I don't think I need to say more. Understood, of course I understand. The bald man said excitedly, That's easy. Leave it to me. I have all the streets and alleys in my mind. Let's go. Baldy was really excited when he got excited. This was an opportunity for him to perform meritorious deeds. Of course, he had to act like he could do things well and establish a good image. Only then could he be appreciated by his boss. As soon as Su Yun's car started moving, the cars that were following them began to surface gradually. Soon, Su Yun determined that there were 4 cars that were suspicious. Under the bald man's guidance, they nimbly walked through the streets and alleys of Tongluo City. It took less than 2 hours for them to leave the 4 cars that were following them behind. The bald man raised his head proudly, hoping to be praised. However, Su Yun didn't say anything. He stepped on the accelerator and rushed directly onto the highway to Jinguang City. There were 3 highway exits in Tongluo City. In order to keep an eye on them, Ning Zhongxing arranged 4 cars and 12 people at each highway exit. The North Highway exit was the first to receive the news that they saw the suspicious Qian. At the same time, 8 cars from the other 2 exits also went to provide support. However, after just 2 hours, Ning Zhongxing received a call saying that they lost them and couldn't find them. Ning Zhongxing was so angry that he cursed. How could he lose track of someone in his own territory? A bunch of good-for-nothings. They're all F***king idlers. Boss, calm down. I'm afraid you can't blame them for this. Shi Lanhua frowned. Baldy Chong is in their car. Shi Lanhua's words reminded Ning Zhongxing. That's right, damn it. No wonder the other party was so familiar with the roads and could leave them behind. It must be Baldy Chong. Baldy Chong, wait until I catch you. I'll skin you alive. Boss, what do we do now? Wind Ear wanted to help, but he was powerless. Seeing that Shi Lanhua was appreciated, he was full of ambition after returning to Tongluo City. Ning Zhongxing glared at him and said, "Why don't you ask? Can you use your brain? Is your brain full of idiots? What do you think we can do? Find them. You must find them before the big boss finds out about this. If the big boss finds out that the tricolor Tang Wang got into trouble in Yanjing, none of you will have a good ending. Do you understand?" Understood. Wind Ear had good intentions, but he got himself into trouble and was yelled at for nothing. Go and find them immediately. Ning Zhongxing's anger was too big. Even Shorty Lu became his punching bag. He pointed at his nose and said, "You only know how to F***king walk around here. Walk around your ass. Get out of here. The further the better. If anyone doesn't do something, don't F***king work for me." Shorty grinned and didn't dare to complain. He obediently followed Wind Ear out of Ning Zhongxing's office. Ning Zhongxing narrowed his eyes. He couldn't calm down for a long time. He gritted his teeth in hatred. If he had known this would happen, he wouldn't have let Baldy Chong leave. He would have asked Lei Zhe to kill him in the car. At most, there would have been a corpse smell in the trunk. It wouldn't have turned into such a disgusting scene. Boss, should we tell the big boss? After all, this matter seems to be getting out of hand. Shi Lanhua's heart was beating like a drum. If this matter wasn't handled well and the big boss found out, Ning Zhongxing might not lose an arm or a leg, but he might not be able to leave a complete corpse. When Ning Zhongxing heard this, he looked at Shi Lanhua differently. You didn't report it when it first happened. Now you want to report it? Where am I supposed to put my face? Lanhua, I thought you thought things through. This isn't something you should say. Boss, I'm sorry. I didn't think it through. Shi Lanhua lowered his head and didn't say anything. He finally realized that at times like this, the second boss wouldn't think for them. He would only think for himself. You go too. You must find him before the big boss finds out. Ning Zhongxing said, "Don't let me down." Shi Lanhua bowed his head and said goodbye, but his heart was filled with anger. To put it bluntly, they were not the ones who started this. When they noticed that someone was following them, they told Ning Zhongxing about it. It was Ning Zhongxing who stopped them from reporting it to the big boss. If this matter could be resolved, it would be easy. The big boss didn't know, and those who knew wouldn't dare to say anything. But if it couldn't be resolved, Ning Zhongxing would definitely clean himself up and make them the scapegoat. Damn old fox. Chapter 1236. The bald man's current situation was indeed much better than his brother's who stayed with the second boss. At least, he didn't have to worry about being kicked out by his boss. Compared with his brother's current situation where being with a king was like being with a tiger, the bald man rejoiced that being with a tiger was like being with a king. Although Su Yun and the others would occasionally provoke him, they wouldn't have the idea of killing him. As long as he cooperated, everything would be fine. Wei Yishan's house in Golden Light City was very easy to find. His reputation as Lord Wei was so high profile that few people didn't know him. In the Rui residential area, which was built on the best feng shui treasure land in Golden Light City, the 4-story detached villa in the center was Lord Wei's big temple. It was 10 o'clock in the evening, but the 4-story detached villa in the center of the Rui residential area was still brightly lit. Wei Yishan hadn't slept well for several days, let alone eaten well. It was obvious that he was very anxious, and his chin had become thinner. Wei Yishan couldn't eat well and sleep well. This was the current situation of his life. Anyone who was involved in this matter would also not be able to eat well and sleep well, right? The subordinates that were arranged to deal with Su Yun, so many of them, were actually all wiped out. This was simply a fantasy story. He couldn't believe this fact. But how could Gong Zhen make such a joke with him? He was heartbroken. Ever since he lost Xiong Feng, Wei Yishan had never felt the same pain in his heart. The successive situations made him feel that his fate was a little shaken. The 2 foreigners who asked him to keep an eye on Su Yun had also stopped moving, which made Wei Yishan feel very uneasy. If the 2 foreigners appeared with their men to kill him, he could resist or talk with them. But now, there was no movement at all, which was the most terrible thing. Could it be that the 2 foreigners had abandoned him and knew that he was useless, so they didn't want to talk nonsense with him anymore? They just needed to find time to kill him to silence him. The thought of this was the most terrible thing. The unpredictable danger made him restless. He couldn't eat well, couldn't sleep well, and was only left with worry and fear every day. Lord Zheng, you should eat something. If you continue like this, your body won't be able to take it. The old nanny who had been with Wei Yishan for more than 20 years really felt sorry for him. She made a bunch of supplements for him every day, but he just couldn't eat them. Wei Yishan was not in the mood to wave his hand. There was only one thing in his mind now, and that was how to deal with the trouble he was facing now. There was no one under him that he could trust. Even Gong Zhen, who was the most useless, ran away and never showed up again after being scolded by him. How helpless was it to be a commander without an army? That feeling of being a mere figurehead was like being trapped on an isolated island, facing danger everywhere. I don't have an appetite. Sister Lan, you should pack your things and leave in the next few days. Wei Yishan said, I have a premonition that I'm in big trouble. A month ago, I, Wei Yishan, even dared to say that there was nothing that I couldn't settle. But now, I don't dare to say this. I can't even protect myself now, and I can't take care of you anymore. I really have no choice. I've prepared a sum of money for you, don't think it's too little. When the nanny heard this, her face turned ugly. Lord Zheng, I've been taking care of you in this house for so many years, and you've always treated me well. If I leave now, it'll be too heartless. I won't leave. But you really can't help me with anything if you stay. Sister Lan, I know you're a sentimental person, so I'm asking you to leave early. I don't want you to be in trouble with me. Wei Yishan believed in his own self-awareness. Ever since he knew that Su Yun was related to the Empress, he couldn't feel at ease. No matter what you say, I won't leave, the nanny said. I can't help you with anything, but at least I can let you have a hot meal when you want to eat something. Wei Yishan, who was a general without an army, was indescribably moved. He didn't expect that when he was in trouble, the only person who could stand by his side and help him was actually his nanny. Outsiders might not know whether to laugh or cry, but in Wei Yishan's eyes, this was a true reflection of himself after all these years. Jianghuai's giant, Lord Zheng Wei, who was respected by everyone, was nothing more than this. Sad, ridiculous, and lamentable. Just as Wei Yishan was feeling apprehensive about what he would face in the future, a few uninvited guests suddenly broke into his private territory. This was because there were no longer any people coming and going in his villa. It was empty, and this old expert felt an inexplicable sense of apprehension in his heart. Lord Zheng Wei, we are really fated to meet again. Su Yun's voice was neither warm nor angry. Wei Yishan couldn't believe his eyes. He had thought that the person standing in front of him would be Zhuo Langyue, and he had also thought that the two mysterious foreigners would be standing in front of him. He had never expected that the person standing in front of him would be Wang Dochui. No, it was Su Yun. Why are you here? Wei Yishan's voice was a little hoarse. Lord Zheng, you deliberately arranged so many people to secretly protect me. Now that I know about it, of course I have to come and thank you. Su Yun's smile hit a sharp and long knife without any scruples. Just say what you want to say. Wei Yishan was unperturbed. You have seen my current situation. Since you know that those people were arranged by me, then you should know very well whether they are dead or alive. Young man, listen to my advice. Don't be too ruthless. If my people are still alive, give them a way out. They are all begging for a living. It's not easy. Su Yun appreciated this point of Wei Yishan's. He was facing a desperate situation, yet he could still think of his subordinates. He was like a different person compared to when he executed Xiong Feng without hesitation. Could it be that people could only be clear-headed and aware of themselves when they were truly facing death? I am not a psychopathic murderer. Su Yun said faintly, Lord Zheng, don't think of me as such a ruthless person. I have always been the kind of person who doesn't offend others if they don't offend me. Wei Yishan didn't say anything, implying that he had indeed offended Su Yun first in this matter. What he regretted the most was this beginning. No one would have thought that the biggest mafia family in New York couldn't even get rid of a Hua Xia youth. The bald-headed man originally thought that Su Yun and Wei Yishan were friends. After hearing a few words, he realized that something was wrong. The two must have had a relationship. Fortunately, before the two of them, Wei Yishan seemed to have to lower his head. Now, the bald-headed man admired Su Yun even more. Oh my God, such a young person could actually make Wei Yishan of Zhonghuai not dare to look into his eyes when he spoke. Awesome. Not simple. Although the nanny knew that the visitor was not friendly, she still followed the conventional hospitality and made tea. Su Yun and the rest politely thanked her. Since you have come to find me, just say what you want to say. Whatever you want to do. I will accompany you. Wei Yishan said faintly, I haven't exercised my muscles for a long time. I am not here to fight with Lord Zheng. Su Yun laughed. If I wanted to fight, would I still be sitting in front of you drinking tea? Wei Yishan's eyes narrowed into a line. Then what do you mean? Su Yun tasted the pu'er in his cup unhurriedly and said with a smile, It's a small matter. I want Lord Zheng to do me a favor, and the grievances between us will be written off. Moreover, I can help Lord Zheng put in a good word for the Empress. Then, Lord Zheng won't have to worry about her finding trouble with you. Chapter 1237. Su Yun and the others left, leaving Wei Yishan sitting in front of the coffee table in a daze. Wei Yishan took a deep breath. Su Yun's suggestion made him a little hesitant. He didn't know if he would be dragged into an even bigger conspiracy. However, after the housekeeper sent the guests away, she said, Lord Zheng, I don't think these young people are bad people. They are all kind people. Trust me, I won't misjudge people. Even I, a housekeeper who serves tea, would politely say thank you when I pour them a cup of tea. There aren't many young people who are so polite nowadays. Perhaps what they said is true. So what if what they said is true? Do I have to help them? Investigate if Hu Xingsu is an antique imitator? Wei Yishan was helpless. Hu Xingsu is a well-known entrepreneur in Zhonghuai. Everyone knows that he is the boss of the largest electric car battery factory in Zhonghuai. How could he be related to antique imitators? Isn't that nonsense? As the old saying goes, you may know a person for a long time without understanding his true nature. A bad person wouldn't put a label on their face saying that they are a bad person. Sister Lon continued, they wouldn't cause trouble for no reason. Lord Zheng, it's better to believe it than not. Just take it as a gamble. Wei Yishan had been suffering from excessive internal heat recently, and his gums had been hurting a lot. It was said that a toothache wasn't an illness, but it was extremely painful. He held his chin and thought for a while before saying faintly, "I'll consider this matter carefully. Since you helped them this time, they might be able to help you in the future." The nanny, Sister Lan, finally said, "Lord Zheng, one more friend means one more path. This is what you always like to say. You might not like what I'm saying. Although you have been making friends all these years, they are all fair-weather friends. Now that you are in trouble, no one can help you. You have gained face by making friends, but you have not gained sincerity." Upon hearing this, Wei Yishan lowered his head solemnly. That's right, all he got was face. Once he said that he, Wei Yishan, had friends all over the world and was called Buddha Wei wherever he went. However, except for solving troubles for others, who else had helped him solve his problems? Haha, life was like a play. He, Wei Yishan, had always thought that he was doing well, but he never thought that he would have such a down-and-out moment. The nanny, Sister Lan, did not say anything else. She silently turned around and prepared to leave. Not to mention his friends, even his wife and children had settled down in Europe. They did not care whether he lived or died. Anyway, he had already given them more money than they could spend in their lifetime. If he was willing to stay in Huaxia and be his Lord Wei, then let him be. As long as he could provide living expenses, nothing else mattered. To be honest, when she thought of this, even the caretaker, Sister Lan, felt sorry for Wei Yishan. "Sister Lan, thank you." Wei Yishan said indifferently, "No one has ever said these words to me, and no one has ever dared to say them to me. Today, you're telling me these things. I know in my heart that you really don't treat me as an outsider." The housekeeper, Sister Lan, turned around and glanced at Wei Yishan. She still didn't say anything. She calmly returned to her room. Some words were useless. She believed that Wei Yishan would understand more than a housewife like her. She stayed only because she knew that she had to be grateful and repay the kindness. Wei Yishan sat on the sofa until 2 o'clock in the morning. Finally, he made a decision. He picked up the phone number left by Su Yun on the coffee table and dialed it. He said one sentence and then hung up. "I'll help you with this matter. After it's over, we'll be even. We don't owe each other anything." Su Yun was sleeping comfortably. He hadn't slept for 2 days and 1 night. He was awakened by Wei Yishan's words. He wanted to say a few polite words, but Wei Yishan hung up the phone quickly. Hiss. Su Yun gritted his teeth. "Damn you. A deal is a deal. Why did you have to call me in the middle of the night? It's not too late to inform me tomorrow. Damn, old Wei, you must have done it on purpose. You just don't want me to have a good rest." Before he finished scolding, Su Yun yawned. "I'm sleepy. Forget it, forget it. I won't argue with him. I'll go back to sleep." The famous entrepreneur in Zhonghui, Hu Xingsu, was definitely a cultured and refined person. Although he was already 50 years old, he maintained his body very well. Because he worked out frequently, he looked like he was in his 30s. He was quite fit and energetic. He looked very refined. Although he was named Hu Xingsu, he had nothing to do with the powerful Xingsu deity. Anyone who saw him at first glance would think that this famous entrepreneur of electric scooter battery production was definitely a refined person. Since the famous Zhongye Wei of Zhonghui had an appointment, of course Hu Xingsu would meet him. He had to meet him. In the VVIP private room of the Wan Zhuang Tea House in Tongluo Wan, Hu Xingsu warmly held Wei Yishan's hand. He ordered the waiter in the room to pour tea and offered Wei Yishan a cigarette. He politely invited Wei Yishan to take a seat. "I've heard of Zhongye's name for a long time, but I've never had the chance to meet you. I didn't expect Zhongye to take the initiative to make an appointment with Tongluo Wan. I'm really honored." Hu Xingsu was very good at talking. Every sentence made people happy. Wei Yishan smiled slightly. "Director Hu, you're mocking me. I've never had the chance to meet you. He. I'm thick-skinned enough to come and drink your tea today. I hope you won't laugh at me." "Zhongye, look at what you're saying," Hu Xingsu said modestly. I can't even lift my head. The two of them chatted for a while. They drank a few cups of tea and smoked 2 cigarettes. Although Hu Xingsu had a strong will, he couldn't help but want to get to the point. Zhongye Wei, you must have something good to say to me this time, right? Hu Xingsu smiled. If there's anything to make a fortune, I hope Zhongye can help me. Wei Yishan laughed. Director Hu, you must be joking. If there's anything to make a fortune, it's you who will help me. After saying that, Wei Yishan glanced at the waiter in the private room and the assistant who had been standing behind Hu Xingsu without saying a word. Hu Xingsu was a sensible person. He snapped his fingers and said to the assistant behind him and the waiter in the private room, "All of you can leave now. I'll call you if I have any orders. If I don't call you, don't come in casually. Also, without my permission, no one is allowed to come in and disturb my discussion with Zhongye Wei. Do you understand?" "Yes." The assistant nodded and left the private room with the waiter. Only Wei Yishan and Hu Xingsu were left in the room. Hu Xingsu smiled slightly. "Zhongye Wei, if you have anything to say, you can tell me directly now. He, as long as I can do it, I'll do my best." Wei Yishan lowered his voice. "Director Hu, other than the battery business, what other business do you do that others don't know?" "Of course not. With my small net worth, what other business can I do? Ha ha ha." Hu Xingsu's expression didn't change. He didn't feel nervous or embarrassed at all. Good acting, Wei Yishan thought in his heart. "Oh, but I heard something. It has something to do with Director Hu. Could it be a misunderstanding?" Wei Yishan said to himself. Misunderstandings can happen easily nowadays. If Zhongye is mistaken, then you must stay for a drink tonight." Hu Xingsu was still talking and laughing. Wei Yishan narrowed his eyes slightly. What if I'm not mistaken? What if it's not a misunderstanding? Chapter 1238. Wei Yishan licked his aching gums and cursed in his heart. He knew very well that this grandson of his was playing mind games with him. "Fine, since you like to beat around the bush and like to say 2 things in 1 sentence, then I'll do the opposite. Everyone knows that you're interested in antiques. I heard from a friend in Beijing that a rare treasure was unearthed recently. It's from the Tang Dynasty, a tricolored statue of the Tang Dynasty's emperor." Wei Yishan narrowed his eyes and finally noticed a trace of doubt between Hu Xingsu's brows. "Oh, a tricolored statue of the Tang Dynasty's emperor?" Hu Xingsu pretended to be surprised and said, "Then it's definitely for a museum. If there's a chance, I'll definitely go and take a look." Wei Yishan waved his hand and said, "What museum? This is a personal collection. If someone took it out to auction..." Boss Hu, can you stop acting with me? I heard that it's yours." Hu Xingsu laughed exaggeratedly and said, "You must be joking, Lord Wei. Who do you think I am? How can I accept such an expensive gift? Ha ha ha. Lord Wei, are you mocking me?" Wei Yishan didn't fall for his beating around the bush and insisted on being direct. "President Hu, I'll be frank with you. You want to sell this thing, and I want it too. Give me a price." Hu Xingsu still looked at Wei Yishan with a blank expression. "Lord Wei, I definitely know the price it was sold for at the charity auction in Beijing." Wei Yishan said, "Since I came to you, it means that I know more than you think. Boss Hu, don't put on airs. Otherwise, how can we be friends? How can we play together in the future? Jianghuai province is only so big. We'll see each other often in the future." Was this a threat? Hu Xingsu frowned. He knew that Wei Yishan had many experts under him, but he lost one a few days ago. Of course, no one had heard that Wei Yishan's men were all refracted. If this news spread, Wei Yishan would have no place in front of Hu Xingsu. "Lord Wei, I really don't understand what you mean." Hu Xingsu wouldn't give in easily. This was a serious matter, and he would never take the risk. "All right." Wei Yishan slammed his palm on the table. "Since you don't trust me, I won't disturb you any further. At the same time, tell CEO Hu that if you don't plan to sell it, tell your subordinate, Ning Jiangxing, to keep his mouth shut. Otherwise, people like me who have ulterior motives will be tempted after hearing the news. You said you're selling it, but you're not selling it. Aren't you tricking people? What do you think? Hu Xingxiu could no longer hide her anger. She had even mentioned Ning Jiangxing's name. How could this matter be covered up? Of course he couldn't. Lord Zheng, since you're so interested in antiques, I'll definitely find a way to help Lord Zheng find out more about them. Hu Xingsu forced a smile. Lord Zheng, I sincerely want to be friends with you. Wei Yishan said, I'm not here to fool you, Boss Hu. I don't have many hobbies in my life. When I'm over 50 years old, I think about many things, and the things I consider are complicated. I'm just thinking that when I die one day, I can have a king of Tang buried beside my coffin. Ha ha ha, that way, I'll have face even in front of the king of hell, don't you think? Ha ha ha. That's right. Hu Xingxiu's smile was obviously absent-minded. But Lord Zheng is still so young and in such good health. I'm afraid that the king of hell won't have the chance to treat you to a meal in the next 100 years. Ayaya, Boss Hu, you really know how to talk. Wei Yishan picked up his teacup and said, Director Hu, let's drink tea instead of wine. I'll drink first as a toast and wait for your good news. Please don't disappoint me. I sincerely want to be friends with you. Of course. I can disappoint anyone but you, Lord Zheng. Hu Xingxiu also picked up her teacup. The two of them drank the tea in a ridiculously fake manner. Wei Yishan stood up. Boss Hu, no matter if you have news or not, remember to contact me. I'll set up a banquet for you at the Golden Dragon Hotel in Golden Light. I'll be waiting for you to find me at any time. Ha ha ha, don't forget. I'll be waiting for you. It's my honor to be invited by Lord Zheng. Of course, I won't miss such a good opportunity. Hu Xingxiu said, but today's Tonglua Wan is my home ground. How can Lord Zheng not have a drink here? Let's go. I'll call a few friends. They all admire Lord Zheng's reputation. Let's get to know each other. Wei Yishan's current situation hadn't spread yet, so there were people who admired him. If this matter was exposed, where would he put his face? Stuff it in his pants. He definitely couldn't eat this meal. We'll have plenty of chances in the future. Wei Yishan obviously had to show off to the fullest. Besides, I don't make friends with just anyone. Haha. You don't have to trouble yourself to find friends to accompany me. Wei Yishan's words made Hu Xingxiu lose his temper. Just listen to his aura. Wei, don't make friends with just anyone. This sentence gave Hu Xingxiu face, but also firmly rejected his intention to set up a banquet. Director Hu, I don't care if this thing is yours or not. Can you give it to me? Give me one last word. Before Wei Yishan walked out of the room, he turned back and said, I'm leaving. Don't see me out. After Wei Yishan left, Hu Xingxiu was silent for about 3 minutes. Suddenly, he violently overturned the entire tea table that was shaped like a tree root. With a crash, all the tea sets on the table fell to the ground with a crackling sound. Hu Xingxiu's assistant and the tea house's waiter immediately rushed in. The waiter was incoherent. He looked at the mess in the room and said nervously, these things are broken. You have to pay for it. Don't talk so much nonsense. Call your manager here. This has nothing to do with you, the assistant said coldly. The waiter didn't want to offend such a rich customer. He quickly went to find the manager. The tea house's manager definitely didn't dare to offend a big shot like Hu Xingxiu. The amount of money he spent here in a year was enough to renovate this room 100 times. Even if he smashed the entire room, he had to smile and say, good job. The manager didn't say anything. He immediately arranged for someone to clean up the room and serve Hu Xingxiu good tea again. It was as if nothing had happened. Hu Xingxiu didn't even leave his seat. This was called being cool. Hu Xingxiu took a while to calm himself down. He gently waved his hand. The assistant behind him immediately leaned over. "Call Ning Zhongsheng and ask him to come over," Hu Xingxiu said lightly. "Yes." The assistant behind him nodded immediately. He quickly took out his phone and dialed Ning Zhongsheng's number. At this moment, Ning Zhongsheng was having a headache because he couldn't find the whereabouts of Su Yun. Now that he suddenly received a call from Hu Xingxiu's assistant, asking him to go to the tea house that he liked to drink tea at, his heart was beating like a drum. This was called having a guilty conscience. If nothing happened to Ning Zhongsheng this time, he wouldn't have to think about anything. When he received this call, he would definitely think that Hu Xingxiu was inviting him to drink tea. But now it was different. He didn't tell Hu Xingxiu about returning to Tong Luo Wan. Could it be that Hu Xingxiu installed a GPS on him? Did he directly locate him? Chapter 1239. Ning Zhongsheng was very clear about his current situation. The big boss's call came at the right time. Ning Zhongsheng wasn't sure what had happened, but he was sure that the caller was not friendly. After hanging up the call with the big boss, Ning Zhongsheng couldn't calm down for a long time. What went wrong and let the big boss know about his return? Could it be Shi Lanhua? That's right. Shi Lanhua had asked him yesterday if he should report this to the big boss, and he had provoked him at that time. Could it be that Shi Lanhua had leaked this information to him? This kid wanted to use this opportunity to take him down and then find a way to get to the top? It was hard to say. Ning Zhongsheng liked Shi Lanhua because Shi Lanhua had this kind of drive in her heart, the drive to achieve a goal by hook or by crook. This drive was the same as him in the past. So he admired him. But now it seemed that his admiration was used in the wrong place. A young man like Shi Lanhua couldn't be put in an important position. Because his ambition was simply too great, and once his ambition was too great, it could not be satisfied. Well, since the big boss asked him to go, then he would call Shi Lanhua. He wanted to see how Shi Lanhua was going to step on him to get to the top. What was going to happen would happen, and there was no way to avoid it. He had experienced all kinds of storms in his life. He didn't believe that he couldn't get through it this time. Shi Lanhua, come to my house. Drive me to a place. Ning Zhongsheng dialed Shi Lanhua's number and hung up the phone immediately after saying that. Shi Lanhua didn't even have time to ask what he was going to do or if it was something urgent. He was now focused on finding Baldy Chong's whereabouts. He had just received news that Baldy Chong had appeared in Golden Light City and was preparing to kill his way to Golden Light City. Now that the second boss asked him to pick him up, there was no room for discussion. It seemed that something big had happened. Shi Lanhua didn't feel uncomfortable about this. It was just that the second boss had always admired him and never called him Shi Lanhua. He always called him Lanhua because it sounded more intimate. Although it was normal to add the surname, Shi Lanhua was still a little nervous. It was like parents educating their children at home. If the children were well behaved, they might affectionately call them Tai Zhu or Ergo. And if the children got into trouble outside, their tone and greetings would change. Tai Zhu would become the stern Chen Tai Zhu, and Ergu would become the angry Zhao Ergu. It was the same principle. Shi Lanhua realized that he was no longer the well-behaved child in his second boss' eyes, but a shameless brat who would be scolded and scolded at any time. However, the boss was the boss after all. Since the boss had spoken, how could he not go? There was only one answer. Of course not. He had to go. He had to go. Not only did he have to go, he had to go immediately and solve this problem as soon as possible. He had to let the second boss know that he was a capable and responsible person. He was different from Baldy Chong, Wind Ear, and Shorty Lu. Half an hour later, Shi Lanhua arrived at the villa area where Ning Zhongsheng lived. Because Lei Zhe had gone into the thunderstorm, it was likely that he wouldn't survive. Therefore, Ning Zhongsheng didn't have a driver and left his car in the garage to collect dust. Shi Lanhua got out of his car and was about to knock on the door when Ning Zhongsheng walked out. It seemed that he was already prepared and was just waiting for him to pick him up. "Boss." Shi Lanhua greeted him respectfully. "Where are we going?" "Oh, didn't I tell you? Don't you know?" Ning Zhongxing's words made Shi Lanhua feel uncomfortable. What was this? If he knew, would he still need to ask? He was supposed to deal with Baldy Chong's problem, but he was called over for no reason. Although Shi Lanhua felt uncomfortable, he didn't show it on his face. This was his forte. "Boss, I got the light." "What did you do yesterday?" Ning Zhongxing didn't wait for Shi Lanhua to finish speaking and interrupted him. Shi Lanhua felt suffocated. "I was just about to report to you. Yesterday, of course, he went to look for Baldy Chong. After I left your place, I've been looking for Baldy Chong. Fortunately, my hard work pays off. I got reliable news that Baldy Chong is in Jean Dash. What's the point of looking for him now?" Ning Zhongxing didn't wait for Shi Lanhua to finish speaking and interrupted him again. Shi Lanhua was no longer in the mood to continue. Moreover, his second boss had already said that there was no point in looking for him now. His boss had already said that it was pointless. If he still shamelessly looked for him, wouldn't he be looking for trouble? He didn't understand. Did second boss take too many drugs? There seemed to be something wrong with his brain. He couldn't understand what he was talking about. What exactly happened? Shi Lanhua's heart was beating like a drum. Could it be that this had something to do with him? Or did he accidentally offend the second boss? Nothing. I'm very careful around second boss. I'm very careful around him. You were really looking for Baldy Chong yesterday? Ning Zhongxing asked calmly. Shi Lanhua took a deep breath. It seemed that something had gone wrong. The second boss misunderstood him. "Boss, I promise. I was really looking for Baldy Chong." "Okay, then come with me." Ning Zhongxing sat in Shi Lanhua's car and asked him to drive to the tea house. Shi Lanhua was dumbfounded when he heard the address. The big boss liked to go to that place. Wasn't the second boss afraid of bumping into the big boss? "Let's go." Ning Zhongxing saw Shi Lanhua's hesitation and sneered in his heart. "Humph, now you know what I mean? It's good that you know what I mean." "Boss, why are we going there?" "Don't tell me." Shi Lanhua hesitated and finally said, "Aren't you afraid of bumping into the big boss?" "Didn't you say? It's because the big boss knows everything. That's why I said there's no point in looking for Baldy Chong. Do you understand?" Ning Zhongxing's face twitched. "Shi Lanhua, how long are you going to pretend?" Shi Lanhua's face changed. The second boss suspected that he had told the big boss something. "Boss, I swear to God, if I said anything wrong, I'll be struck by lightning." "Why are you suspecting me? I can't contact the big boss. With my status, even if I went to look for him, would the big boss see me?" "Boss, don't misunderstand. Don't listen to anyone's slander." "Slander? There's no slander." Ning Zhongxing said, "No one said anything to me." "Don't think too much." "Then, what do you mean?" Shi Lanhua's face was still ugly. Ning Zhongxing said, "If you don't feel guilty, then you don't have to be afraid to come with me. We'll talk when we get there. If you didn't do anything wrong, then there's nothing to be afraid of." Shi Lanhua gritted his teeth and said, "I really have nothing to be afraid of." You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.